Well, hello everyone. Give me a second. My battery ran out on my freaking fan. Blow, fan, blow. All right. It'll start up soon. Hello everyone, welcome back. Yo, it is the 149th stream of my streaming journey, so it doesn't mean much, but tomorrow's going to be 100. Oh no, not tomorrow. I'm probably not streaming tomorrow. On Monday it'll be the 150th stream, so how crazy is that? Guten Abend, Dator says good evening from Germany, and thank you very much, Single Shot Studios, Triple S. Thank you for the sub. What a great way to start off today's stream, with a sub over on the YouTube side. I appreciate it. Okay, that was refreshing. It could use a little bit of cranberry juice though. All right, give me a second, guys. I'm gonna fill this up a little bit. Let me show you my cat in the meantime. Hold on, who's here? Kimbap is eating food still. So we got Nala chilling over here. Empty nest over there. All right, give me a second. I'm just gonna refill my drink. Enjoy Nala in the meantime. Delicious. My God. Ooh. Good girl. Good girl. Okay. Now we're back. Welcome back to 149th day of streaming. Cheers, guys. Happy Friday as well to wherever you are in the world. Yeah, it's a Friday. What does that mean for me? Nothing much. I don't think I have anything planned this weekend. Maybe I'll grab coffee or something with a friend, but generally speaking, I just got a lot of work to catch up on, so I'm just gonna keep it chill, low-key chill. Cyronius says items ordered. Yes, thank you, Cyronius. Shout out to Cyronius, who's helping me out with getting this whole live stream situation set up over in parts of Africa. So as I start to prepare the IRL streaming journey, which will be the next chapter of learning how to be a streamer, my goal is to go to parts of Africa first and test out doing this IRL stream when I go to national parks. So when I'm in the wild, as I go to, let's say, another wildlife safari, imagine I can take you guys with me. It'll be hooked up, internet. Imagine a whole Jeep is rigged up with cameras, microphones, so you can follow along as I travel throughout. And then when we see that epic cheetah sighting or the lion hunt or whatever's happening, boom, flip camera scene over to whatever I'm shooting with. Psh, you can see exactly what it is that I'm filming or whatever I'm photographing. So I think it'll be really exciting. It's got a lot of potential in my humble opinion, assuming all the tech works. And that's where Cyronius comes in, since Cyronius is an expert, is a Twitch streamer who also does a lot of IRL streaming and taking photos whenever you're out and about and showcasing it live. Cyronius says testing in Dubai first, probably. Lols. Yeah, for sure. Although, yeah, so I think what would happen, here's the order of events. So Cyronius helping me out with building the backpack kit, or like the back, what would you call it? Like the kit that will include the encoder, or the other tech little pieces necessary to power a live stream on the go. And then once I receive that, I think what I will do is, even just from my apartment, I'll just be on mobile connection, and let's see, you know, actually, could I do that? The problem is I don't have unlimited data. Okay, at the very least, we'll take one step where I'll use my Wi-Fi, I guess. I'm assuming that could still work. So I'll just do Wi-Fi streaming, but I'll walk around my apartment with a handheld camera hooked up to this Bella Box system and see if the stream works remotely. Step 2 will then be to test, I guess, with a mobile connection. So just with the SIM cards, no Wi-Fi, but using the cell connection, am I able to still run a stream? I'm assuming it should be fine because I'm inside of Dubai. The third test, unfortunately, I won't be able to test the Starlink realistically because I don't think I'll be able to ship it to Dubai anytime soon. So then I won't be able to do like a Starlink test where I'm on the go with it. But maybe at the very least, I can hit up one of my buddies who's got a Jeep, and then we can do a little bit like a desert camping kind of a trip. And while doing that, I'll just be on the cell connections, see how well it works. I will appreciate you guys being the guinea pigs as well, just seeing if the stream is stable or not. And then, yeah, if it works out, then I can do like a quick little stream out in the desert and show you guys what that's like. And then after that, hopefully we should be able to level up and feel prepared for the travel, going to Kenya and doing it there. There are a number of steps in between that as well that I need to do. One, I need to reset up OBS on my mini PC, which I have next to my Mac Studio. And then 2, I think I need to also set it up on my MacBook just in case. So imagine I'll bring my MacBook with me, and if needed, that could also run a live stream. Maybe let's imagine if I have it set up with the Wi-Fi at the lodge, and that becomes the home setup, just in case something happens with my mini PC back home while I'm traveling. Anyways, there's a lot of these like technical things that we got to work out. Fedoreski says howdy. I was about to say Hedoreski says fowdy. How's it going, my friend? Hopefully you're doing well. Happy Friday. Just you know what, I feel a little bit, every day is a good day for me, but I do feel a little bump of energy. Maybe there's a little bit of cocaine in my drink. Did I have too much coffee today? That could also be the situation. Ah, that hits the spot. Hits the spot, Nala. Okay, and let me turn on the fan now. Should be fine. Still? Come on. Dang it. Okay, fan is no good for now. So I'm just going to sweat my ass off here. But yes, hello everyone. And again, thank you, Cyronius. Keep me posted, obviously. Let me know if there's anything else you need from me. I think you had asked me what my favorite color is. I didn't know if that's because you're... yeah, I didn't know if there's like... Oh, hold on. You responded. I haven't seen. Color for the 3D printed bits. Happy to just use black if that suits you. Nikon yellow. Oh, yeah. We should go with Nikon yellow. Yeah, for sure. For sure. We got to lean into that. That's a good suggestion. Items ordered. Perfect. Thank you, man. I appreciate it again. Yeah, let's go from there and see what else we're able to get accomplished. Nala back in the spotlight. Yeah, she just kind of started, you know, what do you call it? It's just like the natural equilibrium, right? So while I was gone, I guess something happened. Something stirred the pot where Kimbap was just hanging out in this bed all the time. But as of the past, I think 2 days, 3 days, balance has been restored where Nala's reclaimed her throne as the queen here. So yeah, good girl. And then Kimbap, is he still not here? Oh, there he is. Look at this guy off in the background. Kimbap. Hey, Kimbap. Good boy. Hold on, let me focus on you. Good boy, Kimbap. What are you doing over there? What are you doing? Good boy. Good boy. All right. So anyways, he's just kind of experimenting with all the spots in my house. It is what it is. All right. So what's on the agenda for today's stream? Today, I will be, oh yeah, I'll be doing probably, I just want to keep running through some of the video edits. So I think that's where we'll start. We'll do some of the video editing, color grading from my Uganda trip, and then we'll just line up a bunch of YouTube videos to watch as we do that. One quick thing, I was productive today, and one of the things that I got done today, or I didn't finish, but I got pretty far, was I recorded the voiceover sections for a project that you guys might have thought I left for dead because it's been so long. Mongolia Part 2. My Mongolia vlog episode 2, or part 2 from that trip. If you guys recall, months ago, we had finished episode 1 of that trip. I was so proud of it. I appreciate all of you guys who had been the day oneers, I guess. Those of you who had joined in, including Cyronius, from that first month or so of streaming, where every day you guys watched me struggle to put together my travel vlog episode of my time in Mongolia. I was so proud of that video. It didn't get a lot of traction, unfortunately. I mean, that's the way of my YouTube channel. You just hope for the best, but you know, you get what you get. But it was actually the thing I was most proud of. I felt like I really leveled up my storytelling and video editing skills from that video. We can always get better though, for sure. And then I did the short film, which is probably my most proud work now. But still, that was up until then. It was amazing work, and I appreciate all you guys who kind of chipped in throughout the streams to make that video possible. So then after that, I've been working on episode 2, but I kept getting interrupted or distracted. Obviously, we had the ZR launch, and then I had some travels, and I had a bunch of things come up here and there. So I haven't actually been able to post another travel vlog episode, not at least from my past number of trips. But I made really good progress behind the scenes in terms of the voiceover segments. And now it's just, I'm just trying to quickly plug in all the B-roll into all the key parts, and then we're good to go. I might do some of that during the streams, but the reason I decided to do it off stream was I just assumed there would be a bit of fatigue. For any of you guys who've been watching me edit that Mongolia video, I know I'm feeling fatigued from staring at that for so long without actually finishing it. We can't all be like Fedorevsky, who works on a video, figures it out in one day, goes out and shoots, and then has the video ready, in 2 days' time. And that's a level of speed that I don't think I can necessarily reach. So I figured, let me just do a little bit off stream, so I will, rescue you guys. I'll save you from the pains of watching me struggle through that. But we got cooler stuff anyways to work on. Fed says, I still say Kimbap must have bought out her Amazon deal while you were gone, but now it's probably reverted back to Nada again. I did actually get another Amazon package. Unfortunately, it's one of those soft packages, so it's not like a box that she can test out again. It is what it is. All right, anyways, what do I want to watch? I've got a few videos lined up. And oh yeah, here it is. Before we get started, something I've been enjoying doing, obviously I want to maintain it, is there we go. A little bit of warm up to start off the stream. Let's warm up the ears and the mind with this sound game and some chess games. So let's put it on hard mode. Let's blast the volume on the Rodecaster. And here we go. I think that's about right. Oh, not good at all. Can I just restart? Okay, I'm restarting. We can't have that to start off. Here we go. There we go. Much better. Much better. Oh no. Okay. Well. All right, let me speed run the rest because I definitely screwed it up with that one. Okay, not my best work, so we'll try again. Much better. Okay, okay. Not bad. Okay. Damn. I had two really good ones, and then the middle ones were just bleh. Ah, okay, okay. You know what? I'm okay. I'm satisfied with that for today. You can't win them all. All right, let's just get into some chess. Let's just win 2 out of 3, and then we're ready to do some edits. Cyrene says, being sad with 49 out of 50, man. You're good, man. Listen. You gotta push yourself always. Maybe not too much, but I guess you can't really improve your hearing. I imagine it's just a luck of the draw type thing. I'm assuming every time I play that, it's not like I'm subtly getting better. I don't think. Who knows? Oh, while I'm playing this game of chess, let me remind you guys, one way you can support the channel, if you're new to my channel, or if you've been watching it for some time, you can support me by watching my latest YouTube video. It should be pinned on all the chats, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. Oh shoot, I made a mistake. I knew it. He's gonna take the freaking knight because I moved the queen there. But yeah, I posted my latest YouTube video. I would definitely appreciate if you guys check it out. You know, obviously I want you to be honest with your opinions, if you like it or if you don't like it, whatever it might be the case. But it's definitely something I'm very proud of. And it's a new series that I've been doing called Behind the Lens, where I try to share my unfiltered thoughts, let's say. Just little tidbits of, you know, sharing my insights, okay, hold on. You're watching me struggle to speak and play this game of chess at the same time. But yeah, it's Behind the Lens. You get to see into my mind about various topics, and this episode was about my wildlife travels mantra, which is expect anything, enjoy everything. It's something I hold dearly in my mind as I go about my travels, because without it, I feel like I'd be traveling for the wrong reasons. I would end up losing myself a bit in terms of the frustrations that can come about from having high expectations about certain types of wildlife sightings or whatever else you think is what you're supposed to experience when you're out on a trip. And reality hits you pretty fast, especially with wildlife. You can't just ask an animal to pose for you, you know? It may not even show up. Doesn't matter how much money you spent. It's just why would the lion care, you know? So anyways, I made a video about it and my thoughts around how to manage the stress that comes with these types of travels, this type of endeavor, all of it. So yeah, check it out. Okay, I want him to take it with his bishop because I'm about to do some crazy creative things here if he does. He's not going to do it because if he takes it, okay, yeah. But I accept this too, just to frustrate him. So he's had to move his king. So now what I'll do, should I just give him a quick little check? I think so. Just to annoy him, you know? I'm not above annoying people. Ooh, I get a free pawn. Is it worth it? Yes, it's worth it. Because now if he takes this pawn with the queen, it gives me an extra pawn and a check. So... And if he doesn't take it, I still end up forcing a move with this, right? Should I do that? Yeah, okay. I'll take this. He won't take it with the queen, because again, he leaves open that pawn. So he'll have to take it with the knight, yeah. And then, should I secure this pawn by moving my bishop here? Or do I move this pawn forward to pressure the queen? The queen can't take it because then I'll move my rook here and then the queen is locked in. He can take it with the knight though, and then I can still lock in the knight, but I just gave up a pawn for no reason. So I think I'll move this here. Sovereign says protect the pawn with the oh shoot, what is he doing? I wasn't expecting this move for some reason. Actually, no, this is okay. Because I think I'll still move the rook here. So if he takes, I'll take, but it's also a check. So then he can't immediately take that pawn. You'll have to either move, yeah, he'll have to move the king. And then I can use that pressure to then protect that pawn with my queen, whether it's moving it here or there, I don't know. Savaronia says, protect a pawn with the E-rook. It's a double pin queen and rook. I'm reading what you're saying, but I'm not registering it. Plus, because I don't think I'm allowed to get help anyways, right? Technically speaking, I don't know. Not that it matters, but I'm reading out loud. But honestly, I didn't register what you said. Okay, so he's doing the thing that I think I was saying I want him to do, or I don't mind him doing. So now it's a check. He can't take with the queen, so he's got to do that. Yep. Now, what should I do? Oh, I can either move it up here for a check, and it forces him to keep moving this way, for what it's worth. Or I could check him this way, and what would that give me? Nothing much. But should I do it anyways? It just feels a little bit more unpredictable to do it that way. Yeah, let's just do it that way, just for shits and giggles. And then I need to protect this pawn still. Oh, shoot. Oh, no, I got 20 seconds. Cyrone says your queen pins that pawn. Oh, he just messed up, though. All right, there we go. And he resigned. Okay, let me read what you were saying. You said protect the pawn with the E-rook. So what move was that? How do I back up? You said protect the pawn with the E-rook. What is it? Oh, with the rook. Okay. Protect the pawn with the rook. So I'm assuming it must have been... Okay, here, technically, I left this pawn open. So if you were talking about here, that was okay because I wanted him to take it. Because if he took it, then I would have moved this rook here, which would have then made him move the queen out the way. He can't take my knight. So then wherever, I don't know, it doesn't matter. If it moved, you know, shoot. If it moved like here, then no matter what I do, I get a free piece because the check. So I don't think that was what you're talking about. What the heck? So then maybe what you were saying is I should have moved one of these rooks here just to protect this pawn. But here's the thing. I actually, okay, if that's what you're talking about, I intentionally was leaving this one exposed because it was bait, right? Because the king is right behind it. So I wanted this one gone, ideally with the queen taking it, because then I trapped the queen in place. Yeah, I think. Either way, it worked out. We did it. All right, let me get one more W in there, and then let's get into some editing mode. Okay, that was a good dub. We got a nice little queen trap. Let's go. Ooh, I love these games when this happens. Okay, he didn't do the thing I'd like for them to do. That's okay, I'll take the bishop. Okay, now we're entering uncharted territory. I don't always know what to do in these circumstances. Let me just, let's just progress a little bit slower here. I want to move my knight here to check the queen, but I leave my bishop exposed, so hold on. Okay, well, if I take with this guy, I leave my bishop exposed, so I think I first need to check the king. And then I'll just exchange, and then I'll protect that pawn. Okay, this actually turned out better for me than I thought it would. Because now this bishop's stuck, because the moment it moves, I take over that pawn. So basically, at the end of the day, I'm annoying this guy, and I don't mind that. We do a bit of trolling here now and then. All right, so now he's gonna have to... Okay, I want this pawn here, but I don't want it to seem so obvious. So I'm going to move it here. So then if it moves this, then I take. If it jumps all the way here, then I'll maybe move this bishop up here just to keep causing annoyance. Oh, no, no, no. I'll then move the bishop. Okay, he's doing the thing. Okay. Now if I move this bishop here, right? Because he can't take, because then I get a free rook. So you can't do that. So it's more just annoying stuff that I'm doing. Let's try that. Let's just see what happens. I've never done this before, so it's good experimentation. Okay. Well, this is good. Now I've disrupted his ability to move his king cleanly. So now I'll back up a bit. Where should I back up to? I gotta be careful here. I don't trap myself. Okay, I gotta back up all the way? No, no, no. I have to back up to here. I think. I gotta be really careful here. Uh-oh. Yeah, I think I need to protect, because if the bishop goes here, then my queen would... Oh, I could move all the way back there, I guess. What is this guy doing? So now he's returning the favor and just annoying the shit out of me. I mean, fair game. Okay, now he's going to threaten my queen. I just feel it. But now, I guess I could always escape to here, or I could escape to there. I think I'd move to here, because then my bishop can get... Okay. Huh. What to do? I'm gonna go a little bit aggressive here. I got a minute and 25 seconds. He's got a minute and 50. So I need to do less thinking and more action. All right, I'll get a free pawn. I get a free check. And then we're just gonna keep creeping forward, yeah? No, no. I think I'll move here. All right. I'm up by 1, so usually at these points, I don't mind trading off pieces. Okay, I'm gonna move this guy back here. We're gonna do a little check if he threatens me. He does, that's fine. I'll protect the pawn. I'll protect with another rook. And then, shoot, what do I do here? Okay, I'll just take. Okay, and then I'll reinforce this pawn, which is a bit threatened, just in case. And if he goes after this pawn, I guess I'll reinforce. Oh no, I got 1 protection here. Do I take? I guess I'll just take, yeah. Okay, now we go forward. We charge. I do got to be careful though. But I think this is okay. This is an interesting game. I'm in a good spot, I think. He just gave up another pawn, and I think he can't take this one, because then I win this exchange of rooks. I'll take the check. I'll take that. Okay, now he just wants an even exchange. That's fine. I accept. Now I got to be careful of this pawn. But he's got to be careful of this one, so I think these will cancel each other out. Because basically I'm just going to force it to chase after this, which then gives me time to kill this pawn. And then I don't think he's going to be able to come back here with my 3 against 2. So I think we're okay. But I'm saying all this without actually knowing if that's true. I'm not good enough to like calculate like, okay, how many moves will it'll take him to chase this guy, and if I chase this one, will he actually be able to come back? He's doing the calculation right now. I don't care. I don't care enough. It's as long as he wastes his time, we're good. We're Gucci. Oh, he resigned just like that. Bravo, bravo. Actually, okay, now that he lost, would that have worked? So let's say if he did chase, does it matter if I move this forward? He takes... Okay, yeah, so then imagine I move this forward. I don't know if this part matters, but he takes this. I go here. He goes there. I go here. Now we're doing this chase to see who can get to each other's pawns. But he's blocked. I'm blocked. All he can do is move this way. I move that way. He moves here. And then I would move this here to block him from being able to go there. So then his only choice is to attack or to move. But at this, okay, yeah, so at this point I win. All right, that's a good start to the day. Happy Friday. We're just winning all around. All right, I accept. Now, let's go watch some videos and edit some videos at the same time. Grading B-Raw by my LUT. Wow, I like how shameless this guy is. Just by my LUT. I should do that. Difference between full frame versus Super 35. I think I have a bunch already opened up, so let's go see here. All My Wrongs, a short film. All right, here we go. What do I have opened? We got a Peter McKinnon video, tracking your entire life in a notebook, and we've got Casey Neistat. Casey Neistat is in the video. I haven't watched a lot of his stuff, but he always seems like a super chill guy. I know he's like considered one of the OGs of YouTube.
If you're one of those people.
Then we got a video called What Cinema Lost When Film Went Digital. Lumix S1 Mark II, after 1 year, my favorite shots. I like these types of videos because it also gives me inspiration for like, okay, how do I make videos on my own, right? Because I've just did the 1 year with my Nikon Z6 III. And should I do other videos where it's like, hey, 1 year of shooting with this lens or with this video, this camera, here's what I got, photos or videos. So I think I should watch that.
If you
we got a video about how I shoot B-roll now. Tales from the Road, exploring Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan. This one, selfishly, I just want to see more travel adventures from Kyrgyzstan, because that's a country I still haven't been yet, but I really need to go. Ideally, I want to go this year. Cinematography style, about Greg Fraser, who we just learned. Greg Fraser being the guy who did, was he the DP for Project Hail Mary? And apparently he's done the Dune series and a bunch of other cool stuff. Batman, I guess. Yeah. That's why we got that here. So that'd be fun to learn. Oh yeah, we got Fedoreski's video. I don't know if Fed, you're still here, but we got video 17th of May, Norway's National Day. So that could be a fun little look-see with your ZR. Colors already look nice there. The art of being behind the scenes. I like behind the scenes stuff. Okay, so anyways, let's just kick it off with some Peter McKinnon.
I have Evernote, I have Apple Notes, I have
Nero Worldwide. Oh, Elthing, what's happening? Elthing says still doesn't work. Oh, the mod thing on the Discord? Okay. Oh, well, be patient with me if you can. Let me see, because I didn't see the option to turn on. I toggled on manage message, but I don't know if it allows for that. Nero Worldwide, do you got any good LUTs to recommend for a Sony camera S-Log 3? I do not, unfortunately. I apologize. I am a Nikon shooter, and even if you were asking for Nikon, I haven't actually built up my own portfolio of LUTs just yet. Nothing that I would stake my hat on, or, you know, like I wouldn't say like, oh, this is worth purchasing. I don't want to sell garbage. And I'm still kind of in the middle of learning how to be better at color grading. So unfortunately, you're catching me a little bit prematurely for that. But either way, I don't have LUTs for Sony cameras. I think we do in our community have a number of Sony shooters. And we have some people who also have stronger and better opinions around what's the best LUTs to purchase. So there is that. I wish I had the LUTs ready, because this would be a perfect opportunity to upsell you on some of my products. But lo and behold, I do not. If you need presets for your photo editing, now we're talking. Then I can point you straight to my website. I'll do it anyways here in case, but you can go to my website where I do sell my presets and a bunch of other things that you can learn about me or how to support me. Elle says the role needs to be above other roles in ranking for me to be able to delete their messages. I think I put it at the top. Here, let me turn on this video and then let me peruse Discord settings real quick.
email, I have Slack, I have WhatsApp.
And thank you, though. Thank you. Thank you, Nero. You said, I appreciate the answer. I am at the moment at 5% of learning color grading, but it is very hard using DaVinci myself. Yo, you've come to the right place, my friend, Nero. Worldwide, you've come to the right place because in the past, since August, September, let's call it around September. What am I talking about? Since the start of my live streaming journey, which started back in like June, July, I've been dedicating most of my time to color grading and learning DaVinci Resolve. And there's been a number of people who've hopped in at different points to give advice and improve my craft. And now I'm here all the time. So you can actually follow along with me as you see how am I color grading different footage, right? So if you see here, these are from my trips over the past 2 months. I just came back from 2 months of traveling across 3 countries, Germany, Uganda, and Tanzania. And so now I'm going through the slow grind of going through every one of my video footage, and the photos that I've taken throughout the 2 months, which is 25,000 photos and 20 terabytes of video footage. It's a lot of wildlife footage. It's a lot of nature-related stuff. Some close-ups of people. It's using some DJI cameras, action cameras, as well as my Nikon ZR, which is shooting in R3D 12-bit log. And so, yeah, you can follow along with me and see how I'm starting to improve my color grading. And occasionally, I'll also watch YouTube videos that kind of break down different things around. Like, for example, here you can see my situation's a little bit insane in terms of if you look at my power grade, but I stick by it because this is now at least vetted in terms of like understanding the right process. Like, what do you start with as step 1 before you go to the subsequent steps of color grading? So I am following this when I edit my own footage. And then you can see the results here as I try my best to be a bit creative with whatever it is that I'm, whatever it is that I shot. So this is just from a trip. I took a few photographers with me as I organized a tour in Uganda for wildlife. So here they went for shoebill storks. So they went into the swamp. I was in the other boat just to film them from behind and just get some nice behind the scenes captures. And yeah, anyways, I'm trying my best to learn how to be like a travel filmmaker, do like documentary style captures, things like that. And so, yeah, this is my attempt when it comes to some of the color grading. So anyways, hopefully you will continue staying in these streams. Definitely make sure to subscribe to me. I'm on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick at the same time. I like to stream to all three as we learn about streaming. Elting says, cough, Sony A7 Mark III shooters with the 17 to 70 Tamron users. I don't know the reference to that. I don't know the reputation. But listen, as a Nikon shooter and our reputation of being potatoes, it is what it is. Nero says, cool destinations capture. I like the cinematic color grading. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I was struggling with this the other day. I think I like the colors here. I use Dehancer. So actually, this is where I'll plug my other stuff. Nero, if you are learning color grading, one of the best tools, one of the best products, in my opinion, and I prove it every time I go on a live stream and I show you how much I'm using it. One of the best tools, I think, for color grader, colorists, or if you're making videos on DaVinci, is a tool called Dehancer. It does the whole film emulation style, and I've been applying this to every freaking one of my clips. If you check out my YouTube channel, all of my latest YouTube videos have been color graded with Dehancer. So I use various aspects of this emulation tool, from the color itself to the kind of film styles, or adding a bit of halation or graininess to the film, or vignetting, or whatever else. I've been using it for so many different features. So yeah, feel free. I've just put in the chat, as part of working with them, they did provide me with a 10% off code, which you can see linked there. So in case it's of interest. Nero says, cool, man. I will subscribe to follow your journey. Good tips you're sharing. Yes, of course. And all these tips I'm getting from other people while I'm streaming or as we watch some YouTube videos. So right now I've been trying to multitask. So you can see here as I'm editing video, I just want to kind of watch some YouTube videos. And we also have our photo editing session. So right now I'm editing the photos from that same trip. Right now it's I'm on the day where we did a bit of chimpanzee trekking. So yeah, kind of slowly go through all of this. But what can you do? Not enough time in the day of me streaming to go through it too much. So we take it one step at a time. Fed says, you don't have to see this many nodes when you're starting up. Yeah. You know what? This is where my stubbornness kicks in and a little bit of contrarianness. When I see people react like, oh my God, that looks crazy. I'm just like, you know what? This is kind of a part of my personality. So I almost don't want to change it anyways, because I am very cluttered in my mind, to the point where you do see this like, oh, this is the simple version? Okay, interesting. But it is the simplified version for me, so we keep it. As long as I'm following the right steps, you know? All right, let me play this video. Let's get cracking. I'll see about Discord.
Every version of a text data entry application that exists on my computer. But when I'm on my Zoom calls in a meeting, it's this.
I've been on a mission. And I've been on a mission to be more productive and efficient with my time and my life as a whole. Because one of my primary goals is to make more videos. Make more videos, take more photos, but be efficient within that process. Scheduling content. How many reels can I make? How many can I plan? When does this video go out? When does this person want this video done? That is, in a sense, my entire life. So it makes sense for me to streamline that in some capacity. What type of videos am I making? Where am I going to make those videos? Who can help me with certain videos? And logically, a notebook, for me, has been the best place to do this. To-do lists.
Okay, L, in case you're still here, L, I did increase the role of the mod in my Discord to the top. So I don't know if that makes a difference, but it seems like when I do that, it tells me to save it. Oh yeah, it does say, drag roles to reorder them. Okay, yeah. So L, I think I've put you on the top of that thing as a mod. So hopefully that does correct whatever issues I was causing before. But thank you very much for following up. All right, here we go. Although the other thing I'll say is, as we're watching this video, I continually see more and more random studies pop up on my newsfeed about how writing makes a significant difference in terms of how we retain, or how it, like the cognitive benefits of whatever it is we're writing. It's more impactful when you write physically as opposed to typing. I keep seeing more and more of these types of studies come out, and it's something I should keep in mind for myself, is not to be too digital with how I track things. So I don't know if that's the direction he's going here, because he's talking about like a physical notebook, but let's find out. I was thinking about Nitro, who is starting up now. Oh, you're talking to Nero Worldwide about, you don't need that many nodes. I'm a little bit crazy with it.
Shot lists, gear for sale, calls and meetings, production meetings, brand meetings, all things contributing to this world live in this notebook. So how can I use this in the most efficient means so that it helps me ultimately make more videos? That's the goal. Now, I want to chat with two people that I think can specifically help me in this field. They track things to the most extreme levels. I'm talking everything that they do for every waking minute of every single day is recorded. That gives you the ultimate bird's eye view on your entire life, where you can trim the fat, where you could use more, zero excuses, accountability, and it all starts with this, a notebook.
Okay, quick pause here as I'm refreshing myself. So this was a fun one for me to color grade. Because it's like such a dark shot. Like I think the original shot was pretty low light. How do I can create a new color grading version. That's Command Y. How do I go between, is it Command B? I always forget this, Command B. Yes, okay. So version 2 is loaded. So for this one, let me just delete everything. Okay. Well, I shouldn't have deleted everything, actually. Hold on. Can I undo that? I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. There we go. Okay. Let's just open up my power grade from scratch. Okay, so this was the original footage. So I guess, no, it wasn't too dark. It got darker here once I applied the ND filter. And on its own, to be fair, it's not bad, right? But we were shooting against a bright sun in the back there. Not too bright, but it was, a setting sun, but we get a little bit of brightness there. And so I was just trying to figure out what can I do to make the colors a little bit more poppy, because this feels slightly too boring for me. So what did we end up with? We ended up with this version, where now we're looking at a bit more warm tones. I wanted to kind of lean into the fact that it's sunset, or it's a setting sun. So let's just kind of lean into it a bit. There's not much that was coming through in the background here. So you see a little bit of like warm tones, but it's not too crazy. One thing I haven't mastered yet when it comes to color grading is doing a proper job of skin tone. Like I know people use this tool over here. Where is it? It's not the waveform, vector scope. I know a lot of people use this vector scope, and this is supposed to be the way that, as you put your little eyedropper on the skin, you're supposed to see where it shows up on this vector scope on the right. But I'm going to be honest, every time I point this at anyone's skin, it always looks like it's following this line. But I guess technically this is what I'm supposed to use to make sure that the skin tone is all lined up along this line, something like that. I don't know. That's beyond me. I'm not that technical just yet, but I'm aware of it. I'm aware there is a proper step to take where people are supposed to meticulously look at the skin tone and match it. For now, I just tend to eyeball things until something breaks. I'm just being real. That is unfortunately how it works. So here I just eyeballed until I thought it looked pretty decent. There's a decent amount of saturation to the shot as well. And I did have to turn on the noise reduction, so I have a node for noise reduction, just because I think it was a bit more noticeable when I was playing it. And then I had to do a bit of keyframing here because midway through the shot, I did adjust my ND filter on the edge, on the front of my lens. So as we were starting to point more closer to the sun, so you can see the boat was shifting from left to right. So as we were shifting angles, it was making things a bit brighter. As we pointed, now he was like completely backlit with the sun here. So what I did in the actual shot was I adjusted the ND filter so it got darker. But unfortunately that does lead to that weird moment where things get like go from bright to dark. So I need to fix for that. So I'll probably add a keyframe just for this section as well to fix it. So it hopefully just stays the same, almost the same tone throughout. There's another moment there where you'll see it change, but it's I think it's usable. We'll see. And I kind of don't mind having the shot be a little bit underexposed. There was a good video we watched recently. Maybe it was Peter McKinnon, but it was someone's video, and I think I agree with this. I think sometimes you lean too hard on following all the rules of engagement, right? When it comes to how do you edit photos? How do you edit videos? And it's like, you're supposed to make sure nothing is underexposed or overexposed, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's whatever you think visually is a creative style that works for you. And sometimes if parts become pure black or underexposed, but it helps to draw the attention to other places, what's wrong with that? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I might even go lower exposure on this. Who knows? Nero says, thanks to Fed, I want to understand what each one of them means. Oh, the nodes. I'm also happy to walk through my node structure. And actually, it's probably I should do that because it'll help me remember why it's important. Fed says, in older streams, Yobel goes through them and explains. I'll explain it here. No need to. Actually, Nero, you should check out all my past streams for sure. All 148 of them. But no, I'll do it here. I'm not sure there's been so many now. Maybe you'll remember. No, I'll just do it here. Also, there's a lot of channels who do shorter videos. Yeah, you shouldn't just listen to me. Like, if you want proper knowledge, the one that we were watching quite a bit of, and we actually have one of his videos lined up here somewhere. Where is it? Oh, this guy, Cullen Kelly. So I stumbled upon this guy early on, and a number of you had also recommended him to me back in the day. And it sounds like Cullen Kelly is like one of the masters of color grading. So, and he does such an excellent job of breaking down his videos. Actually, let's start with this video since you're asking. Henny42 says amount of nodes is insane. If you can't do it with 4 nodes, image is ruined to begin with. You probably are correct. I will not push back on that because yeah, even watching when Cullen Kelly was breaking down the nodes that he uses, it was like much simpler. However, my mind does not work that way. I just, for the life of me, I think I overcomplicate things, and that gives me peace. And at the end of the day, I edit for myself, and I edit for my own peace and therapy. So that's my BS reason for pushing back and being like, you know what, I accept my flaws and put it this way. But I get what you're saying, Henny, because I think even when I edit, sometimes I'll see certain things, like maybe a bit of like artifacts or like distortion, like the image breaking apart just because I'm applying too many things, perhaps. But, you know, we'll see. Fed says, yeah, Cullen is great. And thank you very much, Henny, for being in the Twitch chat. Cullen is great, but to understand his recent videos, you must watch his older ones. He builds on ideas over time. True. Okay, well, Nero, let me break down the nodes that I have, and maybe I'll use a clean image just to work with. Let's see, is there a different one we can use somewhere else? Let's use a wildlife one because that tends to be what I focus on. Although these ones are going to be really hard for me to color grade. I'm not going to lie. Because when I was editing the photos of the same moments, it was getting a little bit tough for me. Okay, let's look at this one. All right. So let's start with the new node. Empty everything. So what do? I've got my saved power grade. So I've created a power grade for specifically this R3D log profile. So then Nero, if you're using that S-Log, you would, presumably create one for that. So imagine I apply this power grade. That's when the nodes pop up. The first node is always the same for almost everyone. I think everyone follows the same thing, roughly speaking. I know Cullen has like, he's got a bunch of other ways to do it. But basically my first node is converting the color space from that flat image that we saw originally. So from turning it from this kind of flat image, we then need a color space transform. So under the effects, usually you can search for it, but basically I've applied this color space transform, dragged it onto the first node, and then here you just got to match the settings of your camera footage with these fields. So for instance, you'll see input color space, and so you just scroll through and you match it. So if you have the S-Log, blah, 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 you choose S-Log and whatever else it is. So you make sure the input color space and input gamma matches the original footage. In my case, with the Nikon ZR footage, it was shooting with red wide gamut RGB, and the input gamma was red log 3G10. And then I convert it into this output color space of DaVinci wide gamut and DaVinci intermediate. Yeah, Fed says here you would just put in S-Log instead for the color space transformation. Yep, for the input color space. I need to work on a way to simplify the explanation for this. The way that I'm trying to explain this is using language. So what I think of is like, okay, yeah, I gotta workshop this a bit. Let's say DaVinci Resolve is like a translating tool, and you've got someone speaking Chinese, okay? Someone gives you a recording in Chinese. That's the original input source, right? Chinese, Mandarin, blah, 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 whatever, it doesn't matter. And then DaVinci Resolve, inside of the editing software, let's say it's a universal, oh shoot, that's not a good example. Let's say the DaVinci's language is Spanish, okay? So basically, we found out through time that Spanish is apparently the most complicated language in the world, in the sense that it's got the most meaning and the most you can convey in every word. I'm bullshitting this, who knows, right? But let's assume like there's some kind of thing that determined that Spanish is actually an amazing language to work with because it dissects so many different meanings, effectively. So when we're translating this Chinese file, doing the translation, converting it into Spanish is best because we can retain and extract the most meaning from that original file. Blah, blah, blah. So then Chinese is the worst example for this, by the way. German, okay? German. It's like apparently German is the best language in terms of conveying all this meaning extracting. So we took the Chinese file, put it into DaVinci, which is in German language. Then we extract all the meanings from that Chinese file. However, the universal language is English. So when we output the real translation, we're actually outputting it into English such that majority of people in the world can actually understand what you've extracted from this foreign language. God, that's not the best analogy. I got to workshop it a bit better. But I guess the point is, you've got this concept of inputting color space and then working within a specific color space and then outputting at the end into a universal color space. So that's the example of taking S-Log, which is that foreign input color space. Then you convert it into DaVinci wide gamut and DaVinci intermediate, which is the temporary interim color space when you're editing your colors within DaVinci. And then you've got your universal output color space, which is that Rec 709 Gamma 2.4 or whatever. And apparently Rec 709 is like one of those universal standards that like almost all video platforms digest easily or effectively. So whether it's YouTube or Instagram or whatever, Rec 709 tends to be the format that works well across the board. So you go from S-Log, edit within DaVinci's colors, and then export into Rec 709 colors. There you go. Or in my shitty example, Chinese into German into English. Anyways. Anyway, so we got the red wide, red log. Then we make sure it's in DaVinci wide gamut, which means that if this is the first node, everything that comes afterwards is assuming that it's been converted into this DaVinci Wide Gamut and DaVinci Intermediate color space. And the reason for that is apparently, like I said, DaVinci Wide Gamut, the DaVinci color space apparently has the most colors to work with, or it gives you a bit more ability to control your colors, supposedly, when you're in DaVinci. One of the steps you need to do if you're doing that though, is within the project settings, you got to go to the color management and just make sure your timeline color space and the output color space matches. So for example, I have my timeline color space turned to DaVinci Wide Gamut / Intermediate. So that means when I'm editing the colors within the timeline that I have open, it's going to use the best color source, which is DaVinci WG and Intermediate. And then when I go to export the footage, I have it set to default as Rec 709 Gamma 2.4 as that color space. So yeah. Over explaining, but actually this is really important for me because I need to keep refining how I explain this. So that's my first node. Then it looks complicated, but I swear it's not that bad. I've got these two nodes here. Am I able to zoom in on this? How do I? There must be a way, yeah? I know there's a way. How do I zoom in? Oh, okay. There we go. Okay, much better. All right, so that takes care of node number 1, which is where we convert the colors into the best editing colors while we're in this timeline. Then these two, I've labeled it as white balance and primaries. And from everything I can see, it sounds like one of the first steps you should do is balance your colors. And so try to find the white points and match it up, right? So if we were looking at this footage, maybe if it was completely obvious that the white needs to be fixed, this is the node that I would use for that. Fed says it's a wide color space, but there are others that are also large. Many prefer using ARRI log, for example. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not at that point yet. For now, yeah, I'm at the DaVinci Wide point. But yeah, so then this is the node that I use to do any types of initial color correction. So just making any adjustments to make this as neutral as possible or as natural as possible. So like, okay, maybe the way I originally shot, my temperature was off, and so everything looks a lot warmer than it was actually in real life. So this would be the node that I use to refine those colors a bit more. And I'm using one of the methods I saw from Colin Kelly, where he switched this gamma mode to linear, and then when you adjust the colors, you instead of adjusting the temperature slider or the tint slider, we're actually going to use this gain wheel, this gain color wheel. And I think the term I heard Colin Kelly call it is the linear gain technique. Why is it called that? Because he converted the gamma into a linear gamma, and he's using this gain wheel, so linear gain. So then from here, I would, in this node, as I do the initial color corrections on the white balance, I would just click this little circle and just move it around to whatever gives me the neutral or the more natural color corrected point. So yeah, this is kind of like one way to adjust that white point or figure out where you have more corrected colors. So I don't know, let's just assume maybe it was something more like this. So like I have to cool it down a bit to match what was more realistic. I don't know. Let's just say it was something like this. Okay. Not saying I would actually do this, but maybe it's like, okay, now we've got the white to actually look white and everything looks more realistic to what I saw. So that's my next node, is color correcting for the white balance. And then the second node is color correcting for the primaries. And it sounds like primaries is the language that a lot of the experts use. I didn't necessarily, but listen, I'm doing my best to become an expert. So the primaries are everything to do with your exposures, your contrast, the lighting, that kind of stuff. That seems to be what gets covered by people saying primaries. So I have this node for color correction primaries, what I labeled as CC primaries. And so then this becomes the node where I also color correct for the lighting. So then maybe I look at this waveform. So I'll switch over to the waveform. And then I use this as a way to see if am I like underexposed or overexposed. So it looks like I was probably slightly underexposed here. Or no, where is it? Somewhere over here, I guess. There's some points that on the waveform hits basically almost to 0. But then I'll basically use this CC primaries node to adjust two things. Either I go into the HDR panel and then I go to the global exposure, and then I'll use this global exposure slider to kind of drop down the exposure until it fits more with what I think is accurate. And then in terms of the numbering, it basically is like -1 means -1 stop of light. So this is like equivalent of me saying like I just reduced this by a single stop of light. Now, however, someone that I traveled with recently, I mentioned that I went on a film project with CNN Create. Really cool working with those guys because they were proper professionals. The main camera operator, he was sharing with me that one of the techniques he does is he'll go into the camera raw section and he'll switch over to, like, let's say the clip. And once he decodes using the clip, he will then use this space to adjust the ISO. So for example, here I originally shot at 800 ISO. If you need to drop the exposure, he'll actually start from here. So instead of having it at 800, maybe he'll drop it to like 500. And then you look at the waveform, or you look at the, eyeball it. So basically he'll use this as the way to adjust for the exposure first before doing anything with the knobs or any of the other dials. So maybe he'll go like, okay, this looks a bit better. Or let's just go with 500. So that's one way to adjust the primaries, or in this case, the exposure level. And then if you need to do extra work, maybe you'll go into that HDR panel and adjust this global slider. It's beyond me as to why this slider is best. I'm just going off of what Colin Kelly said, where he was explaining, there was a video he had, which is very good, around the fact that there's so many different ways to do the exact same action, right? We see the option for exposure here. We see it in the other color wheels. I don't know where it is. There's like always a bunch of ways that you could adjust the exposure, and DaVinci doesn't tell you why one is better than the other. But Colin Kelly does, thankfully. And he was explaining how adjusting this exposure slider is actually a cleaner way to actually drop the stops of light as opposed to the other ways. So, okay, listen, don't come to me for the actual technical breakdowns. I'm just here to relay the knowledge I'm hopefully retaining. So for me, in practical terms, I just use this HDR global exposure slider to kind of get the lighting to be corrected as much as I can. So then let's say if this is what I like, we're good to go. Now, one thing that's confusing me though is that there is a bit of this blue wave here that's showing that it's basically underexposed. And I don't actually know where it's coming from, but sometimes you can adjust these other wheels to kind of lift certain things. But like I said, I don't know where that one's coming from. Let's lift this one, see what happens. Nothing. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where it's coming from. I'm not seeing it when I point. It's saying it's like somewhere here, yeah? Huh. Well, you know what? Visually, though, it looks pretty good, so I'm okay with that. So anyways, that is my long-winded explanation for, again, the first node, which is the color space transformation input, like converting it from the original raw logs. And then these two nodes are doing all the heavy lifting for the color correction. One is for the colors, like the balance, the white point, and the other is for all the light exposures. Then I have this third node, which is the thing that I kind of retained from Colin Kelly, and I mentioned this to you, Fed, earlier. I forget all of the things about why this is so important, but I have one node that's for like the 18% point, or like the mid-gray point, which is apparently where you're supposed to, that's like the best way to set up your exposure. I just forgot how exactly does that apply to my situation. So I have this here, but I usually just have it grayed out. And then What matters for me though is then we move to the next column. So imagine this column really is just about these two, which is change the colors, change the lighting. Then it's literally the same thing. It's a repeat of the same nodes here, but this one I have for color grading. So the way I think about editing, until someone tells me otherwise, I view it as like usually there's a first step, which is get the colors to be in the same language as your software, in which case here it's a DaVinci Wide, Intermediate, and Gamut or whatever. Number two is do the color corrections to get your original shot as natural as possible to what was actually there in terms of lighting and colors. And then number three is the color grading part, where you decide to be more creative with the colors themselves. So I've separated it out such that these two nodes will get me that balance point of what was neutral. And then from here on out, this is everything that comes after those nodes are when I'm making creative decisions. When I'm deciding to say, okay, this is what the natural colors were, but now I want to break it. I want it to be a bit warmer or cooler. Or I want to only change the orange colors to be something else, or the blues or whatever. Or I want to actually make this super, super dark. I want this to be like, I don't know, something very whatever, dramatic. So anything that becomes a like a creative decision making is all these nodes that come after. But really these two are the main ones, right? It's a repeat of the color grading for the white balance and then color grading for the primaries. And then we have this one, which is a DCTL. I don't know what DCTL stands for, but it's one of those third-party tools that I was able to download. And this one gives me a bit more refined control over contrast anytime I need to change the contrast. Fed says there's many ways to do it that works well. That number is for contrast pivot in DaVinci Wide Gamut to set the pivot at middle gray. The number is different depending on what color space you're working in. Yeah. And then here, this looks super complicated because it is, but I didn't mean for it to be so. Realistically, there's only just four nodes. This is all to do with when I want refined color adjustments, where I want to change only one type of color or more, right? So I have one for saturation. So if I want to increase the saturation of my reds or my yellows or oranges or blues, whatever. Then I have one for desaturating, if I need to desaturate certain colors selectively. That's what it's there for. Then I have one for increasing the density of different colors selectively. And then last one is for hue shift, if I want to change the colors of any of the selective colors I've got. And the only reason why I've got a repeat of that is because one version is for the DCTLs, which are those third-party versions that I've purchased or am using. And the other one is the native DaVinci node. So if I want to change the saturation for this image here and not use a third-party DCTL, then for this node, usually I'll go to that little color slice. Is that what it's called? Yeah, color slice panel. And here, let's say if I want to change the greens and the yellows, then I could do whatever manipulation I need to do here. Like if I want to increase the saturation, that didn't do anything. Let's go to the greens. I'm not seeing any change whatsoever. What the heck? There we go. Okay. Well, it's barely got an effect. Is it under the reds, maybe? Okay. Yeah, so obviously I wouldn't do this. But I can use the color slice if I want to only selectively change the red tone into something else, whether it's increasing the density or whatever. But obviously I have it on the saturation node, so this one is meant just to increase the saturation. If I want to desaturate, same thing, density, blah, blah, blah. Or I can use my DCTL here and then increase all the saturation or do selective ones as needed. So yeah, that's why, but it does look complicated, I'm not gonna lie. DCTL equals DaVinci Color Transform Language. Gotcha. And then I've got this node that's hidden, but this is where I can do any of my masking. So if I create like if I want to create a vignetting, or if I want to create a power window where only effects happen to something inside of a circle in the middle or in the outside, I just got a node set up for that. Then I've got a node for any LUTs. So if I want to apply any of my creative LUTs, I could drag it into this one. while it's still in the DaVinci Wide Gamut color space. This one I do think was a little bit overkill to create 3 different nodes, because this goes back to what Henny42 had said earlier, that I did notice when I play with 3 different nodes, all including Dehancer in it, even if I separate out what each of them does, I did notice that there's some kind of effect applied each time I turn on this node. So realistically, I probably should just have 1 node for Dehancer effects. But here I can turn on this node, which is where most of my creative color grading decisions have been coming from of late, just because I enjoy it so much. But this is the tool I'll use to adjust all the film profiles, compression, print profiles, halation, and so on. And then I've got a node for my noise reduction. So if the shot is pretty noisy, I'll activate this one to clean it up a bit. I usually have it turned off because if I turn it on, the rendering takes up a lot more time. And so it'll be a bit more stuttery when I'm playing back the footage. So I prefer to just keep it off for now. And then we get to our final node, our final important node, I guess, which is the color space transform out. And here I'm using a DCTL version instead of like just copying and pasting the first node and then just going from DaVinci Wide Gamut Intermediate into Rec 709 Gamma 2.4. Instead, we're using this one that we downloaded called JP2499DRT, but it does the exact same thing. So it's switching from the DaVinci Wide Gamut Intermediate color space and converting it into our output, which is Rec 709 Gamma 2.4. And there you go. That's it. Then I just have 1 node for any LUTs that are in the Rec 709 color space. I want to drag it in there. Technically, I have a node ready to go. Then I have a few nodes for sharpening. Shout out to Fed. I think Fed, you're the one who showed me someone's video about doing a bit more of like a partial sharpening where it can just sharpen a little bit on the edge. So doing a bit of edge detection and then, being more selective with what gets sharpened. So I really couldn't explain it because I just watched that video and copied it. But this allows me to slightly sharpen my footage, but not universally, just around the edges to get a bit more maximum sharpness without the ugly distortions that come with that. And there you go. That is my power grade in a nutshell. Overly complicated, yes, but I think everything has its place and every place has meaning, I think. So now how would I apply that to this particular shot? Well, let's do this together. So let me zoom to window, or is it original size? Yeah, okay, fine. Let's maximize this bad boy. I think I prefer zooming it out so it fits. Whoops, what did I just do? Okay, there we go. DRT equals display. Why does that word sound so weird? Display. My display. Display. Do you put the emphasis on the play or the dis? It's like one of those times, when you say a word too many times and it doesn't sound real. Display. Display. Holy crap. My monitor display. Okay. Display, rendering, transform. So what would I do with this particular shot? Honestly, I don't even feel like it needs a lot of color grading. It kind of looks clean on its own. Now let's see if it retained what I adjusted here. Yeah, so I did change the color correction a bit. And I did adjust the primaries to drop the exposure level slightly. So from here, what would I do? Generally speaking, I do like to increase the density. So we've got this DCTL where I can basically change the density of various points. Now, I don't want to change the density of the eyes because I kind of like having the light reflected on the eyes. So I would probably end up doing a bit more selective density change. So let's see, maybe on the greens. Yeah, so I might change just the greens and the blues, cyan, Should be fine. I'm just trying to make sure I don't change the eyes. So this one is the one that affects the eyes, the yellow. So I don't think I'll play with that. Now I know if I treated this like photo editing, I could always do a bit of masking, so I can just make sure it doesn't affect the chimp, and then the green/yellow in the background is only being adjusted for density. I just don't like doing a lot of those types of selective masking for videos, just because the render time and everything is just so long. Fed says it's a bit heavy on resources, but the great results are, and it's fast. Gotcha. Okay, so sometimes I like playing with the density, sometimes I like playing with the saturation, so I might see what it looks like when everything's saturated. Obviously, this looks a little bit ridiculous, so we'll do a bit of like just selective. Start with the yellows. So I do think I want to increase the yellows quite a bit. Something like that. Magenta doesn't really do much. Cyan. Yeah, we'll do a bit of the cyan because it's touching the fur, some of the fur there. Same with the blues. And then how much green do we want? This might be too much green. Just do a touch of green. And then the red, I don't think we want too much of the red because it's impacting the skin of the chimp, which makes it feel a little bit more unnatural. But it is touching the eyes a bit, so I want a dash of red, yeah? Somewhere like there. Okay. Fed says there's a new sharpening tool now in Resolve. It's incredible. Ultra Sharpen. It does it all for you using a slider. Sharpens the right spots and leaves skin looking good. Really? Wait, so you're saying I can get rid of all of this the previous method I was using? Ultra Sharpen. Okay, hold on. I'll create a new version. In this new version, let's just create one node. Let's drag in Ultra Sharpen. And let's see how much of a difference we're looking at. Okay, this is the Ultra Sharpen version, okay? So just off the bat, can we see a difference here? Version 1, this is the one that has my prior node structure. Version 2, ooh. Yo. Just in default mode, the Ultra Sharpen one actually sharpened the chimp's the eye on the right, because in my previous version it was slightly blurry such that only the chimp's left eye is sharp, and then the right one has a bit of softness to it, which probably I might have been shooting at like a really low aperture, so with the wide aperture maybe it was only catching one effect like properly. But with this Ultra Sharpen, it literally did a fantastic job. Look at that. Let's just zoom in a little bit. Okay, so comparison. So this is the first version, very soft here. Second version, cleaned it up. And it doesn't feel too extreme, or I'm not noticing too many like crazy annoying artifacts. And it did sharpen slightly on some other parts of the face, like the water droplets. It doesn't touch the mouth, which I'm okay with. And this is just at the default level here, sharpen amount at 0.3. So what happens if I drag this guy over? Let's see. Jesus. Oh yeah, I mean, obviously that's too much, but. Here, let's just see a comparison. This is at its 100%. So before, after. Yeah, obviously that's too much, but no, I liked it right where it was before, 0.3. All right. You've been happy with it as of now? Well, perfect. It's intelligent sharpening, so it will sharpen the right spots. Man, talk about AI doing its thing. Well, thank you very much. It sounds like I need to now update my freaking power grade yet again. Can I tell you something, Fed? I don't know if... Is it just me? I really don't like changing my power grades once I found a good hero image for the power grade. And I like, for example, you can see here, I'll zoom in a bit. I have this as my power grade for my R3D file. And it's the shot of my chimp, the chimp that was going through the tunnel from my short film. Because the thumbnail looks so cool. So I like seeing that every time when I'm about to apply this power grade. And so the moment I save this as a new power grade, well then say goodbye to that beautiful thumbnail. Is there a way to override? Can I just click this and save? Hold on, let's see. Because that could change everything for me. Append? Is that append? Would append mean to change or update? Apply active layer, apply grade. No, I don't want that. I just want to save, import, export, use labels, properties. Properties? No. Switch white mode. I don't know. I tend to copy the grade over all the similar type of shots in a project and make small adjustments, makes work faster. Yeah. No, I mean, but I also just like, whenever I'm working on new projects, I just like to click on this guy. Okay, well, either way, I'll figure this out later. But thank you very much, Fed. I think I like this. It seems to do a pretty good job here of not being too crazy with the sharpness. And it was pretty smart about it, where it seemed to only affect the other eye, which was blurry, and apply a decent amount to look okay. The thing I'm checking for is like with motion, would the sharpness become distracting where it's not enough like blurriness on the with the movement. Doesn't look too bad. Now that rendering speed is a little bit atrocious. Is that coming from that ultra sharpen? Let's see. Holy crap. Okay, so it sounds like this is something I had to turn on at the very end. So here's the speed without that node turned on. Plays like butter. And then if I turn that node on, yikes. Okay, so I have to keep that in mind. For now, I'm just gonna have it deactivated, and I'll have to remember to turn it on, I guess, before I export the footage. All right, what about, do I want to apply anything from Dehancer? Let's see. I think usually for the wildlife stuff, I don't think I like to apply too much Dehancer, because like the point is not to make things look too unnatural, you know what I mean? So if I apply a bunch of these like film stock profiles or whatever, it could start to cut in. However, I will say, as I've become more comfortable with Dehancer, I am starting to find different ways to find a good balance. Let's see. See, like this one looks very artistic, but it looks much more unnatural. So I feel of two minds about these kinds of how much I run into this or how much I lean into it. But I do like this Kodak Endura glossy paper, because that one seems to be more natural with how it applies this like print profile. And mainly it's like increasing a bit of like saturation and darkness to it, as opposed to completely warping the colors. So I'm usually more comfortable with the results from this. All right, this looks pretty good. Got a little darkness to it. What about the halation? Do we want some halation? Yeah. That's giving it just the right depth of red, I think, in the skin there. Just like a touch of glow to the red almost. Bloom, I think I used too much of the bloom of late, and it does feel a little bit overused. So I probably won't turn that one on. And then vignetting maybe could work for this shot. Now it is a bit dark now. So let me first start by adjusting the vignette just a bit. Fed says, I think it might be using smart localized noise reduction as well as smart localized sharpening. Okay. Yeah, like the noise reduction and the sharpening tools, they definitely take up a lot of bandwidth. So yeah, usually I like to keep it off on default and then... Okay. And then I won't go too crazy with the vignetting. Just a touch. Yo, this footage looks fantastic. And then I probably need to stabilize it a little bit and all that fun stuff. Oh, that's too much. All right, let's check it out though. So this is what how much it did punch in quite a bit to stabilize. I was shaking a lot as I was setting up myself, but let's see. That looks pretty damn good, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, too much cropping. So let's just drop the stabilization strength a bit. Let's see if this helps. And one thing I did a lot of this trip, and I probably will refrain from doing it going forward. Like I said, I think I got a bit hoodwinked. That's the wrong word to use, but after the CNN Crate project, because they're from the UK, they were shooting in 25 frames and 50 frames. And so I shot in 25-50 even for this second trip to Uganda, just in case there was more footage that I captured from this trip that they could use for their film project, right? But one thing I miss is just the added touch of slow motion when I shoot in 60 frames or even shooting in 30 frames as opposed to 25. So I think I over-relied on filming at 25 frames, which meant most of my shots, there's no ability for me to properly slow it down. And so even if there's a bit of shake, I do appreciate when I shoot at 30, even slowing it down to 80% of the original speed, sometimes that could be enough to help smooth out some of my shakiness, given the fact that I handhold everything. So anyways, that's some thoughts for future trips. I might just switch back to shooting 30 frames and 60 frames as opposed to 25 and 50. Fed says, yeah, I've been using at default lately. Using as default, just make it a shared node so I can turn it on or off on all clips at once. Gotcha. Nice. I really like the color grading I just did here though. This looks primo. So how do we compare? Let's see. Let's switch over to this one again. Let's delete this one. Delete. Unable to delete. Oh, hold on. Okay, hold on. Okay. Let's delete version 1. And then let's duplicate this one, but turn this off. Okay. So now we have two styles, right? So in this original one, all we did was a bit of color correction and just some slight changes to the density and the saturation. Otherwise, I think this is very clean. I kind of like it as is. And then here is where we went a little bit crazy with the colors and using some of the dehancer film emulation style. And to me, it obviously makes it pop quite a bit more. It does give it a lot more personality. So I think I need to become more comfortable with this direction, adding more personality to the shots. This one is more for like National Geographic style, when you need everything to be as neutral and natural as possible, whereas this one is more fun for like storytelling mode. I think. I could be wrong. So let's stick with this one. And again, some people might say this is way too dark. You know, it's like you're underexposed. You know what? They're probably right, but I am a bit stubborn. All right, let's just apply this to everything, see what we get for all the other shots. Now here we can see where the effects I did, when we get some blue sky, it does look a little nasty there. But usually for this shot, I'm not looking for moments with the sky too much, visibly speaking, because we're trying to get some eye level shots of the chimp. But yeah, there's a moment here. I might have to correct for that blue. But this looks good. Man, I'm liking this. This is a proper screen grab photo moment as well. Fed says that new one looks great, more of a film grade. Yeah, I'd say National Geographic might be a place in between the two. I agree. It's something in between those two where you would probably color grade a bit more than I did, because I just did a bit of color correction and just choose the right, like choose a better white balance, let's say. And this one is a bit extreme with some of the colors, but it looks not half bad. I think the thing I do need to change though is that blue. The blue to me looks a little too, I don't know. It's like that tealish color that feels a bit too much on the artistic side and not too much on the real side. So let me use this one as an example and let's clean it up a bit. How can we clean it up? We can try. Let's go into the hue shift. It looks like one of those cyan colors. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Oh, just like that. Could it be? Did we just fix it with a single slider? I think so. Yeah, because now at least we got rid of a little bit of that, the cyan tealish tint, and it feels a bit more natural blue. And I don't see it affecting the rest of the footage. So I think we're golden. It also improved the black color of the chimp's fur. Boom, boom, boom. Let's fix this one. Yeah, it's not bad. And I guess this one doesn't need it, but let's just do it anyways. Yeah, okay. There it is. Man, we got some clean shots. Boom, boom. This is the power of the Nikon ZR at work. Look at that beautiful capture. That eye moment. I just wish I wasn't so shaky all the time. Yeah, that looks clean, except for that tree branch in the way. Fed says, I'm not sure why it's breaking apart in the sky there. There must be something in the node tree that's acting up. Well, I mean, a little bit was... Yeah, it probably... I'm curious. I mean, I like it as is now, so I don't necessarily think I need to play with it. It could be from the film compression that I was doing. It could be... Yeah, it's probably that. That's the only thing I really played with. The rest I just chose like a film profile. I really like the Kodak Aero Color 4125. That tends to be my go-to. Okay, so then what's the before and after? So let's create another version. Let's turn this off. Beautiful. I like this a lot. Fed's asking what lens am I using here? I don't know. There's a lot of shake. So, I want to say it must have been the 85. Either the 85 or the 400. I'm just trying to remember. Did I travel with the 400 on this particular trek? I don't think so. I'm going to assume it's the 85. I don't know if there's a way to check here. I thought there was a way to see the lens somewhere in the metadata of some software I had used. It doesn't say here. Oh, you know what? I could tell by my action camera shot. The beauty of shooting with multiple cameras, I can actually see what cameras I was using on this day. Let's see. Oh, is this the moment? No shot. Did I actually get to the... Is this it? I think this is the literal moment behind the scenes, yeah? Yeah, there it is. There it is. I got it. Kind of proud of myself. So here was the same moment behind the scenes. So yeah, I was shooting with the 400 for this, which makes me feel a little bit better about myself. Because in my mind, I'm like, look, if I was this shaky holding an 85 1.2, I mean, the 85 1.2 is not light, but would it really warrant or justify the level of shake I was seeing in that shot? I don't know. I'd be a little disappointed in myself. But this one's more reasonable because I'm kind of like, I have my arm outstretched quite a bit. And it's shooting with that 400 with my 360 camera and the shotgun mic.
Yeah, go for it. Tell the chimp to...
Tell the chimp to what?
Just a little. Come on, dude. You can do it.
Oh, you know what's also cool is you can see here in my camera monitor the red being where it's saying it's overexposed, right? So it was even warning me correctly. Oh yeah, so Fed, to your other question, that's the other reason why you're looking at it breaking up in the sky there is probably because it was slightly overexposed. But I kind of ignored that fact because I was going for a punched in shot of the chimp, so I kind of didn't mind if the sky was a little bit overexposed, assuming that I was going to crop in or I just wanted the right exposure on the skin of the chimp.
And what does Nico go into the stick?
But what I am curious about is when the red shows up on my monitor, does that mean it is 100% for sure overexposed, or does it turn on even when it's more like in the warning zone? So let me quickly see here. Okay, so it's hard to see though, because here I can see on my side. It's probably hard to see on your guys' side. There's a little bit of that red creeping through on my monitor, and I wish I could see more clearly on the waveform. But on the waveform, it doesn't look like it's actually crossing into the red line. So I don't think I was technically overexposed. I think I'm still within the range of like it's acceptable, but it's almost touching the red line, I think. I could be wrong. Fed says, yeah, I was thinking you're shooting raw here, so it should say when using the Nikkor lens. That's what I thought, but I don't see it, at least within DaVinci. I don't see it's not in the metadata there. I was thinking the 400, that's why it's shaking. Your pulse alone will make it shake at 400. Yeah, I am kind of proud of myself for the fact that I can film hand holding with the 400, but I am still human and I'm way beyond when I was at my peak physical shape. So yeah, it is still very intense for me to try to shoot these moments. So I think that was acceptable with the 400. I shot a lot at 375 equivalent on that 50 to 250, which is 75, 375. And I got you got that type of shape often. Yeah, it's the area where it's starting to clip over into full clipping. Yeah. Oh, there's the moment. It is such a workout, by the way. I'm so glad I have this lens because, I mean, even this lens I think is like 1 or 2 kg lighter than the former version, for the F mount, and that makes a big difference. My God, but it is still heavy, right? It's not like you can't get around the fact that this thing is a workout.
Tell me to move.
This reminds me of Steve Irwin.
It's moving.
This reminds me just of Steve Irwin. Just poking the most dangerous animal.
What can go wrong?
Fed says, I think the reason you're not seeing it is because you don't choose clip in the raw panel. Oh, we'll get to that again in a second then. Gigacolor Scapes 1859. I'm curious what the reference is to 1859. Is that a ZR for photos? Yes, it is. Oh, no, I mean, it's a ZR for photos and videos. I was focusing more on videos. I've been focusing more on videos of for the past like 2 years or so, 2 to 3 years. But I was shooting photos and videos with the ZR for what it's worth. This is not shot with the ZR, obviously. This is like an action camera, so I had multiple action cameras during this trip. This was the Osmo Nano hooked up to my hat. It was this guy. I wonder if it's easier to show from my cat camera. Maybe. Yeah, so it was this guy. So I had this hooked up to my hat, and that's the camera you're seeing here. But otherwise, yeah, I was shooting with 2 ZRs for the past 2 months of travel. Thank you for the question, Giga Color Scapes. I think it's the first time I'm seeing your name pop into the chat, so I appreciate it. Fedorowski says, picking clip retrieves all the clip info so you can access it in the edit page. Okay, hold on. You've piqued my interest. Let's jump back. Let's jump back to the shot. Okay, so you're saying if I go to... Where was it? You said it's because you don't choose clip in the raw panel. Here I've chosen clip, I think, right? Because I said decode using clip. Or what if I choose camera metadata? No. Color science, IPP2, color space, blah, blah, blah. The ISO. Color temperature. At least in this panel, it doesn't say anything about the lens that I used. And then if I go into the edit tab, at least from here, it's not showing anything. Pick and clip retrieves all the clip info so you can access in the edit pages. Okay, so I'm on the edit page. I remember when I was using the red software, I think there it actually showed me the lens I was using. But in DaVinci itself, maybe it's in the metadata here. Oh no, hold on. Clip attributes. It would be nice if I can see all that information each time. Also, if I shot with the shotgun mic or if it's like the native microphone, those things would all be useful. Yeah, I don't see it anywhere here. Customize columns. All right. Maybe I just don't have it selected. Clip details. File name, audio bit depth, data level, input color space. Okay, so it's not any of these. What about camera? Camera type, camera manufacturer, camera format, serial number, ID, FPS, shutter type, shutter angle, shutter speed, ISO, camera TC type, firmware, monitor LUT, focal point. Oh, maybe that could be. Could that be it? One way to tell? Possibly. Let me just put it up here. Camera aperture. Oh yeah, actually I wouldn't mind seeing that. Lens number, lens type. Oh, okay, hold on. Focal point, camera aperture, lens type, distance, lens number. I don't know if that would be helpful. Okay, let's see what happens. Oh, and the ISO. I would like to see that as well. All right, fingers crossed. Do we have that information here? Focal point, we got it. It's not accurate, or it's at least telling me what I was shooting at, which is great. I like this information. So for example, one of these shots, it's showing I shot at 560 because I had the teleconverter on. It's showing me camera aperture, but that doesn't seem to, I don't know what any of this information means, so I should probably get rid of this one. Camera aperture doesn't really do much. Lens type, it just says Nikon. That's a little bit unnecessary. Yeah, let's get rid of that one. Because really, I only have the Nikon lenses plus the Viltrox 14mm, but that's so obvious when I'm shooting with that. Lens number doesn't give me any information, so let's get rid of that one. And then ISO, perfect. So you can see I shot mostly 800 and sometimes I had it on the high ISO. It's a setting in camera, I don't know, it's helpful sometimes to be able to see it. Well, there we go. Well, I appreciate you pushing me to figure this out, because now this can help me going forward. Because I always want to know that information, I just didn't know how to grab it easily. So there we go, we got this at 400mm. I like the colors quite a bit. This one's a bit dark though, so we'll have to change. Okay, so we'll have to do a custom on this one. And I'm assuming it won't work on this either, yeah. All right, so these shots, I'm gonna have to work on it separately. I'm a bit nervous about figuring out how to color grade for this setup because it just looks so bland. And if you guys remember when I was editing my photos, when I had this shot to try to edit, at least with the photos, I struggled so much to make this look good. So, all right, challenge accepted. Let's start from here. Let me get back to watching some YouTube videos while I do this though. So let's bring this back. All right, here we go. It doesn't always matter, but at times you want to know. Exactly, yeah.
Now, I've made different videos about notebooks, how to track your habits, how to journal, your best pen recommendations, where to keep it all, why these few pages stapled together can actually change your life and make all the difference when it comes to your creativity and being able to wrangle it. But there's layers. Just like I can show you how to track your habits, we can go deeper. In this episode, we go deeper. And I want to know if this is something that I can implement into my life to make me even sharper, an even better fine-tuned instrument than I feel like I am now. Because my philosophy is you can always improve. Doesn't matter what peak you stand on, doesn't matter where you are in your career, there is always room to get better. There is always room to sharpen. And this journey starts in Casey's office.
You're so much shorter than me. I have to like hold the camera at my chest.
You shoot up. So
Well, God, because look, I'm like a giant green bean, dude. Like you're very nostalgic.
What does Casey shoot with? Is he known for? I don't know much about him. Besides, I know he's an OG. Is he like a camera guy? Or I thought he was just like a lifestyle dude. Casey Neistat. Is Casey Neistat a photographer? He's a filmmaker. Okay, so he does short films. Cool. All right, anyways.
Nostalgic person. I like that about you.
Nostalgia is my favorite and most feared emotion.
Nostalgia. Oh, it's because he's getting older? I don't know. Sounds like Peter has too much time on his hands, says Fed. Lately with all the self-improvement. You know what? It's an interesting point because I don't know. I haven't like really kept up with a lot of YouTubers, to be fair, especially with like photography, things like that. So it's been a while since I like consistently watched any YouTubers' videos like this. But I have seemed to notice a trend with Peter McKinnon's, since we've been at least watching some, where it does feel like he's on a new journey. He's like on a new chapter of like, hey, yeah, like you said, maybe it's a bit of like self-discovery or like, changing his branding a bit. I have no idea. Yeah, but it does feel that way. I'm not opposed to it per se. Listen, I'm always, as someone who's struggling myself to try to figure out my DNA, like what is my brand, what direction is best for me to take. It's interesting to see that this is still a struggle for even those who are the most successful at this, which could be discouraging, but it's also encouraging. I don't know, because at least we're sharing the same path, but maybe there's no end to it. Fed says younger people in their 20s are often into this kind of stuff. He's kind of old for this stuff. Perhaps but the thing is, he's got like such a young spirit, right? But obviously he's now, I don't know, is he the same age as Casey? But yeah, yesterday we were watching that Mati Hapoya video, and it's him on vacation with his two kids. I was like, damn. They're older than me, but not by much. And I'm like, oh man, I'm at that point where it's like, I might also be considered a grandpa now. Am I too old to be part of the young, hip, Hello, my fellow whatever.
I'll write that in my journal.
But there's something about it that is practical. Like, I don't do this to be romantic. I do this because it's functional. But the romance comes from when the book is full.
Hopefully he doesn't
So I
start
put
selling
it
Peter
and put it up on
McKinnon
the shelf, and then I
something
have
crystals.
a book
Yeah.
called Studio Notes from January 2026. And it means nothing now. But just like when I was like getting lost looking at my notebook from
Hold on. Sometimes I like to be creepy like this. I want to see what's in the reflection. So it's a monitor and some cool looking speakers.
and it means nothing now. But just like when I was like getting
I'm so jealous of, I think the thing I'm most jealous of, like with like Peter McKinnon and Casey, all these guys, is just the fact that they have these massive warehouses to call their own. Not just like they fill up with all of their,
lost
passions.
looking at my notebook from 25 years ago. Maybe there'll be some day when I look back at this and I'm like, I remember those conversations. And maybe there's value in that. I don't know. If my great-grandmother was alive today, Peter, maybe she would look at this from 1944 and be like, oh, I remember that day when I met with Ethel, and she would find value in that.
They don't name them like that anymore, do they?
Ethel. I mean, my daughter's names are Francine and Georgina.
Yeah.
Old lady names. I don't pick
Wow.
a particular panache for. Penchant? What's the word?
I don't know. You're a man of words.
I'm fond of old lady names. These are awful. Yep. Every one of them.
Yep. Do you ever read them? Do you ever go back?
I mean, this is pre-smartphone.
Yeah.
So this is like if you go into it, it's like all the phone numbers of the people that I need to be in touch with, and then
Jesus.
just like, specific notes. Like this is a page just called Dominate. It looks like a plan for global domination. Not even remotely joking. This is a microfilm printout of Andy Warhol explaining beauty.
It's almost like a bit of a scrapbook, eh?
Well, this is, you think of your iPhone, you whip it out, you take a photo of something. When you need to write something down, you send it an email. Like this is a floor plan of the ping pong bar in Berlin called Dr. Pong from July 18th, 2003. And this is the full layout.
Why?
This is clearly on the 24th, I needed to be at Tempelhof Airport at 11:30 a.m.
Man, I like this. It's so fascinating. I feel like it'd be a good practice to journal everything. I just don't think realistically I'll be able to do that. I don't know. Also, my life, now when I'm home and I'm not like traveling, my life is way too boring to try to journal every day, is my assumption. Because it'd be like the same routine every day. Like today I worked on video and I made it this far. Next day I worked on the same video and I made it a little bit farther. I played with my cats. I ate the same food. I made the same coffee. So once I'm traveling though, oh man, then every day is a blast. Casey is 1 year younger than me, 45. I'll soon be 46 and was born a year before him. Gotcha. And Peter is 40. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so I think Casey is like well grounded in the kind of, we'll call it like the OG space of YouTube in terms of the age as well, I guess. And I don't think Casey necessarily is presenting some energy of like a youngster, whereas Peter seems to be right smack dab in the middle of that transition period almost. I don't know, maybe. That's my quick line on it.
Fly to Salzburg. I haven't looked at this one in a while. This is a layout of my plane from, I can't read that word, to Salzburg. Specifications, it was a Saab 3400.
Detailed. What'd you write today?
It was just notes on a phone call. Like the inspirational notebooks are a thing of the past, man.
They don't have to be.
Well, you're right, but I think now most of like what would end up in a book then manifests into videos.
Now that line right there, pause, that's the money line. Most of the things I would have recorded into a journal end up manifesting into videos now. I've never thought about it that way. I have journals and journals and I have dozens and dozens of these just from last year, filled with thoughts and feelings and stories and ideas. And to think that all of those entries could potentially be videos in and of themselves, stories in and of themselves, blows my mind. And it seems so obvious. It's all right there. But it took that one thing from Casey to unlock it. So instead of writing about a conflict or a way that I'm feeling or something that I need to improve on, perhaps that is, in a sense, the plot to the next video. That one line might unlock more videos. So I'm already headed down the right path. How can this help me make more videos?
You don't think there's a world for both?
Fed says might be middle age crisis. Yeah, probably. I mean, if you are 40 years old, that is technically right. Isn't that when it's supposed to happen? The midlife crisis.
No, I do think there's a world for both. Sorry, this has just got me up a terror. I'm reading about the Iliad. What I used to do is when I'd go on trips, adventures, now they're trips, then they're adventures, I would dedicate a single notebook to that journey. And then the journey was like what's called a clip book, with scrapbook.
Yeah, scrapbook.
So it was like
airplane tickets, receipts, stuff you've eaten.
Yeah, and then
things from
minute
hotels.
by minute. So
Yeah.
everything I did in every single day, napkins, like all the specifics of what happened on and in any given trip. Like that's pretty cool. This is the most psycho journal I ever did. So from Sunday, February 29th, 2004, it's 22 years ago, until, let's see when the last entry was, 6/19/2005. On one sheet of paper would be 16 squares. Each square was a day. These are the minutes of my day. So it's not about how I'm feeling or what I'm thinking or inspirations or it's literally like minute by minute what I did every
What would be the
single-
purpose of that?
I don't know. Record?
It's pretty sick though. I won't lie.
No data recorded on 3/27/04 due to severe illness. Written in retrospect.
Dude, this guy's
You see,
mind
you
is
always hear
crazy.
people say time is our greatest asset. It's our most valuable commodity, and it's true. You don't know how much of it you have, and you can never get it back. These types of systems help us manage that, and any system that can help me manage it, improve it, sharpen it, I'm willing to listen. But to this day, it remains one of my greatest adversaries. I procrastinate, I wait so long to start things. Having too many tasks can cripple me. I have great ambition and I have great drive. It's not for a lack of wanting, it usually comes down to time. I don't have time to do it. So how can I take this book here and this pen, put them together, and come up with a way to solve all of this? That's my goal. But I gotta learn from the best.
Okay, this is it. I haven't gone back here in a long time, Peter. Let's see what the first entry
What
is.
the heck is this?
This was every movie stub. Rush Hour 2. Steven Spielberg's AI. 7/3/2001. But then on the back, I write the
Rush Hour 2. Speaking of, when is the new Rush Hour coming out? Notice how calm Casey is and how amped up Peter is. Might also be those ADHD plus a lot of coffee. Probably, yeah. I don't know. It's as if I know either of them, right? But this guy Casey always comes off to me like he just kind of knows his place in the world. He's at peace, right? That's this general sense I get. Of late with Peter, it does feel like he's in that mode of like, look, I'm not to say he's stressing, but he's got a bit of anxiety around whatever his identity is going to be as the world changes around him. Because he's still young enough to really just kind of go in a completely different direction if he wants to. Well, I mean, same with Casey, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. Peter's like probably just young enough where it's like, oh, well, you know, why the world shouldn't forget about me. I should just, I should still be the star in the next generation of content creation and all that kind of stuff. And I think, honestly, he could. Like, there's nothing stopping him. But yeah, but as he gets older, I guess like it's harder to set yourself in that new standard. I'm judging by these new videos. Take it with a pound of salt. Yeah. No worries.
name of who I went to the movies with. So it's a way of like obviously tracking the movies that I saw then, but moreover, there are patterns in who I go to the movies with. You know, where I stopped, and I remember this happening, was when they stopped printing out these like really cool movie theater tickets. And they started to just print out these shitty receipts.
Yeah, like the thermal paper ones.
And thermal paper, like you can see here, like I even wrote it on the ticket because it already faded in my pocket, like when I went to see Gravity. And now it's just an app. Not only is this a moment in time that doesn't exist anymore, but I'm not sure you could do this today because you wouldn't have that physical ticket.
Now, my friend John takes data recording, habit tracking to the absolute tip of the spear. Perfect reference for this old 80s shirt.
All right, I just drove all the way out to Niagara Falls, basically, so that I could,
Niagara.
log that thing. It's gone when I get back, for sure. I had to hear it from John himself, how this guy tracks every 15 minutes of his day, every day, without fail, hasn't missed for like 100 days. It makes zero sense. This wasn't a text, this wasn't a FaceTime, this had to happen in person. To press the doorbell, so. There you go.
Oh my gosh, that was fast.
Go on
Right there. How's it going, dude?
Good, man, go ahead.
Years back, almost 7 years ago, John and I made a video about notebooks, tracking, logging, recording habits, using a notebook to find patterns and make your life better. Since then, he's adopted some of my habits and I'm adopting some of his. Most recently, where he tracks every 15 minutes that he's awake.
I can barely color grade sometimes. This makes no sense to me.
Every single thing that he does, everything that happens, every 15 minutes. Will it change how I go about my daily life? Will it change how I work? Or will it just be a waste of time? So I drove out to visit John to do this thing one more time.
Yeah, I don't write it down like every 15 minutes on the dot. I don't have a timer that goes off. It's every task switch. When I'm done with this project,
You know, the one thing I have going for me is that I'm Asian. And being Asian, I mean, I might just jinx myself. Even when I'm like 50 years old, I think I have a higher chance of looking like I'm still 30 years old. I think. So I could trick more people into thinking I'm like, oh, hey, fellow Gen Zers, how's it going? Yeah. Fed says Casey always seemed calm even in his fast-paced, fast-cut videos. Yeah, I guess I just don't know enough. I haven't seen too many of any of their contents. I guess the chaos he describes with his ADHD might be why he likes to use journals and self-help techniques to try to organize it all. Yeah, again, it's kind of funny because a lot of things he's talking about are things that I've been also mulling in my mind of late. Even this concept of the notebook. Maybe we have the same social media algorithm feeding us the same things. Because like I said, I saw a bunch of stuff recently about how writing is more important than like typing out notes or whatever. Even physically reading books, like holding a physical book and reading, the level of retention and how much it impacts your cognitive thinking or whatever you gain from it is so much better than holding a tablet and reading the same book but through a digital screen. There's like so many random things like that I've been seeing come up, which is making me go like, oh, do I need to write more? Do I have to like physically have more haptic things? Yeah.
When I'm done talking to that person, when I'm done with my drive, when I'm done having a hot tub, like, then I catch up.
This sounds absolutely insane, but I have to know why he does it and what it could possibly do for me.
Getting all the goods right now. All the secrets, all the goods. We're gonna be journal masters. Not even journal masters. We're gonna be tracking masters. Track master, okay? Professional tracker. Not in the woods, that's different.
Every single task, every 15 minutes of every day for 200 days. Now, like he mentioned, it's a lot for a lot of people. Some people, that might work great for, but that's a commitment.
You now, beyond tracking your 8 critical tasks, you track every 15 minutes of your day and you haven't missed for
211-ish days.
and how do you so you track every 15 minutes
for that I'm awake. Yep, of everything that I'm doing. And I want to see, well, we'll talk.
You know what this sounds like? That sounds like rich people hobbies. Okay, that's like when you got FU money. I'm saying this with so much speculation. I have no idea who this guy is, and it's a bit presumptuous because he's friends with Peter McKinnon. I assume this guy's like super talented and successful. But the ability to track your life every 15 minutes definitely comes with it some point of privilege of like the fact that you can even do that. Jesus, I'm jealous of. I would love to have that kind of boredom, that not even boredom, but just the ability to be like, you know what, I will be able to track every 15 minutes. Why not?
All about it. I want to see patterns. I want to see habits. I want to see when I stay up late. I want to see how I work in chunks. I want to see when I waste time. I want to see what I waste time on. We have no time. I'm out of time. I got so much stuff to do.
I was playing Tetris all morning.
As the owner of this company, I'm not really accountable to anybody, and this holds me accountable to myself. And now if I'm doing something, I know I'm going to write it down. And there's like the guilt, the oversight, the like whatever. Not for everybody, absolutely, but it's. As someone who's never tracked their time ever, I don't know how long I spent on a project.
I've never done it.
Yeah, I've never done it either. I've never really worked a job. I don't clock in. I don't track my time.
Okay, we have to do this properly.
Here we go. Are these all full? Yes, these are all completely full. I've started numbering every one, so I'm on number 26 now. I carry 2 now. I'm a 2 notebook kind of guy.
You carry 2?
Yep.
Why do you carry 2?
Because I have them separated. So one's my time tracker, and one is actually inspired by your last video, and it's this. This is almost identical to what you did.
I love to see it.
And I've been doing this for over a year.
I love every month.
This is a 2-week period. 2-week chunk.
Every 2 weeks for over a year you've been doing it.
Yep, exactly.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's literally more consistent than what I've been doing. Okay, keep going. We keep going.
All right.
2 notebooks.
Yep, 2 notebooks.
Unbelievable.
So this one tracks kind of 2 things. I've got cool things that happened today, which I think was one of your things.
Yeah.
So just every day I got.
Fetz says, definitely don't have time to do this. Not that I feel I need it anyways, but yeah. It does kind of sound like that for sure. I could see actors do this. I guess a chaos. I'm reading your messages backwards, by the way. Casey, I guess. where was that? You can see Peter's brain reaching boiling point as this guy explains it to him in real time. I like that about him. I feel like Peter's one of those guys where he doesn't hide his emotions, right? It's on his tattoo sleeves. He wears it on his sleeves in a way where, I mean, that's why he's as popular as he is, right? It's like he's got such a unique personality that's clearly, it works well with camera. It works well being on camera to share with other people, for people to consume. So yeah, I'm kind of jealous of that because I, in my opinion, I view myself as a bit more like tame throughout. I'm not like the most physically expressive at most times. So,
Gotta write down something that was cool.
Yep.
This last week, Leif and I visited Peter McKinnon. You made one of the cool
I
things.
made it in.
Yeah. And then this tracks my sleep, when I went to sleep, when I woke up, and how much sleep I got in all different colors. So I can see patterns all over the place. And then this tracks Monday through Sunday, 2 weeks, when I fell asleep, how much sleep I got, did I work out and for how long, what's my weight, did I have breakfast, did I compliment somebody, did I be a technician at work, did I work on biz dev, did I work on marketing, did I work late, did I go on my night walk and how long, did I work on watchmaking, did I do my power list, did I work on a project, and these are all projects that I'm working on.
You literally do it better than I do it.
I got inspirations from you, buddy.
I got to step up my game.
Yeah.
I had to give it a shot. So for the last day, I've tracked every 15 minutes of everything that I've done all day long. Wake up, get dressed, breakfast / loadout, driving, phone with sister, meeting with Adam, right down to chunks, 9 to 9:15, 9:15 to 9:30, 9:30 to 9:45, driving, Grain Nation, downtown at the lab, Instagram, driving. It's a lot of driving. Here's my findings. Yes, it's helpful to look back and see in chunks where you spent the majority of your day doing whatever you were doing. But I've found over the last at least just 5 days, to keep in mind only 5 days, nothing in these pages really jumps out at me as things that I would never have realized. If I wasted time...
Fed says, are you saying he used to try to tattoo his emotions to his arms? I mean, I can't make blanket statements, but in a sense, when I think of me getting my tattoos, it is kind of like capturing some emotional moment, usually with meaning, right? I don't think I've gotten to a point where I get meaningless tattoos, but for now, all of the ink work that I've got has come from some level of strong emotional tie, and then putting it on my body as like almost like a level of burning it into you, right? For remembrance or something. I think you get a lot more work done out and about if you are more stoic, especially when working alone as a one-man crew. It works well as a one-man crew. I agree. I don't have enough experience with like a 2-man or 3-man crew to really say what my personality is, like in terms of the energy levels and stuff. Most of my life, I have been fairly independent. Everything, even from a sporting perspective, like wrestling is very independent. You have a team, or you have you do have your team with you, but it's all somewhat independent. I don't know. It'd be interesting. Imagine, Yobel, you are out in the jungle with all your cameras attached and rolling. You suddenly remember it's 2:15 p.m. I need to get my journal out and write about my time usage and inner feelings. Yeah, it doesn't feel realistic for where I currently am in my life. I wish I had that kind of, I wish I could do it though, for sure. What do I do nowadays though? I mentioned some of the things I do. So when I watch a movie or a TV show, I try my best, if there's a profound moment, if there is something that like stands out of like, oh, that's the thing that caused me to feel emotional in that moment because of this technique or this amalgamation of whatever. I do try to track that. So I try to put a little intention behind some of the things that I do in my life. Does it mean physically writing? Not so much, but yeah, that's even like, while we watch YouTube videos, sometimes I'll be tracking some of the key moments that I should keep in mind for the future. So I do try to pause at times to take quote unquote note of the things that I'm consuming around me. Do I find value right now with what he's breaking down of like, tracking every 15 minutes or whatever, like, I made coffee, I did this. Maybe there's something at a macro level, a year from now, you can recognize some patterns from that, or it could be a nice keepsake to track the motion of your life, I guess. But would it help me mentally? I'm not sure.
Today, I likely know where I wasted that time. If I spent time in the car, I know where I went, I know roughly how much time I spent in the car. So for me, documenting everything every 15 minutes is kind of a waste of my time. I don't see how that would actually help me make more videos, take more photos. That is not implementation that works for me in my life when it comes to a journal. Now, writing down tasks to see if I got them done today, that helps me. Creative ideas and feelings and workflow, those things help me. They either remind me things or they inspire, which could potentially end up being video ideas. They inspire tasks that I need to get done. They inspire new ways of thinking, someone I need to call, and in Casey's sense, potentially an idea for a video. I think it's cool to record what you did in a day, but I don't think I need to do every 15 minutes. But more so, this needs to be more of a book of creative inspiration. That's where my biggest source comes from.
We are very similar in many different ways. But I think journaling and using a notebook is where we completely differ, because this is how I've been journaling recently.
Okay.
Look through this. So I've not been handwriting at all in this book.
It says no handwriting.
No handwriting allowed whatsoever. I've been typewriting every single entry and then taping them into the book after the fact. So it's like the complete opposite of time efficient.
Here we go.
It is absolutely...
Oh, the library.
There's emotional moments in your videos at times, like the chimp film. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm unemotional. I'm saying I don't think I'm as expressive with my emotions. I'm not as like physically, high energy. I'm not like a high energy ball that goes crazy all the time, which is good energy for social media and stuff like that, if I'm being honest. Mine is definitely more on the low key side of things. Yeah. Again, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's my personality. What do you want from me? But yeah, it's just something I notice. Like obviously with Peter McKinnon, it's so clear. He's like a really good example of like a certain personality type, especially from a content creator perspective. My brain just kind of saves ideas and I write them down when I start writing scripts and so on. I don't need to use a journal, but people are different. Some have more scattered thoughts. I'm very scattered. So like I said, I'll be in the shower, be like, oh shoot, I need to buy more shampoo. And by the time I step out of the shower, that thought has disappeared and it's gone. And I'll remember it the next day when I'm taking a shower. I'm like, oh, I should get a shampoo bottle. And it's gone, So I definitely need to track these things more personally.
Everything.
Yeah, so like that's my running log, dude. So like,
so when you run.
Yeah, so when I run,
you put this in the typewriter.
I put it back in,
That
dude.
is so sick. And it's very easy to track too much data, and it's pointless at some point. I'm doing it for the fun, for the love of the game kind of thing, but at some point I'll delete things. I'm like, I don't need to track that anymore. It's stupid. It's not valuing me.
Yeah, or it did what it needed to do.
Exactly, right?
Yeah. Literally, I'll type on anything.
Nice, $2. You're typing this. Holy cow.
Oh, that's on a typewriter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of them have like different fonts, right? Like cursive, something like this.
These are stunning.
Yeah, so like this would be like...
It's like, Tuesday, 3C, cold, Americano and pour over, a visit from Kirk, a phone from...
Okay, I'm experimenting here a little bit. So one of the things, if you have seen me edit my photos in the past, I love to do a bunch of linear gradients on the corners of my photo. And so it's like to mimic a bit of vignetting or to have some directional light coming through. I haven't really done that for videos. Like I said, I haven't done a lot of masking just because the amount of effort required to track a subject or do edits just on the subject in a moving, in a stills versus a video, it's just a lot of work for, I don't know, how much gain. So I don't tend to do it, but I'm curious if I have a bit more of a still, almost like a still shot where the subject is in frame, not moving much, and I hopefully am not moving too much, but can I add some of this directional light? So could I add this linear gradient and increase the, the exposure, maybe change the temperature up, those things, to mimic a bit of warm light coming through. I don't know. We're about to find out. I'm just going to play with it a bit. Fed says, practical stuff like that I forget too. My wife is much better at remembering practical stuff like getting shampoo or food items that are running out. Yeah, I need a wife just for that, man.
Family FaceTime with Alex. Editing for the rest of the day.
Yeah,
that's your.
So sometimes just snapshots.
That's beautiful. That's so beautiful.
And then I might do like a late afternoon coffee update if like
this is
like an extra. That's all typewriter. Yeah.
The font is like beautiful.
Yeah. That's something that blows people's minds. Is that typewriters have different fonts, basically typefaces. So you can get cursive ones, you can get serif ones, you can get non-serif ones. Like it is endless.
Is it switch out every single key?
It's a whole different typewriter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have different typewriters set
10.
up for different.
I have 10. Yeah.
Do you go back and read through these?
I do, yeah.
Yeah?
Because this feels like more like artsy and
my
stuff.
gosh.
And
Move the needle. Editing most of the day.
yeah,
It's so
Move the Needle
beautiful.
felt good. Like my daughter like writes, or my son and my kids write little notes. I'll put them in like an envelope and slide them in, or pictures with like actual.
Are these your pictures?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just from New
Damn.
York and like the
That looks so cool.
hotel, like room 812, and so
That is absolutely special.
As someone that's constantly
Okay, that's like that's a badass notebook. So this is the rich people notebook, but I'm jealous. I want that. That's like a proper successful. Someone clearly he knows aesthetics, but that looks badass.
come up with ideas, creative treatments, turning those things into viewable content, photos, trips, all of that stuff recorded into here. That's how I like to use a notebook. Now, if you compare it to Casey, I don't need the layout of a restaurant or the layout of a plane, but I would keep the receipt, I would keep the boarding pass, those types of mementos that I could then probably put in a journal later on. Those things, sure. But I think it's interesting seeing two different individuals and seeing how they use these types of tools in very different ways, but then realizing in the very end, neither of those things work for me. Those are two processes that I have no use for. I use this in my own way. Just like you watching at home probably use yours in your own way. I think the takeaway from this is using something to help you get to the next level. Always moving forward, always improving, always sharpening. What systems can you put in place that help you get to the next level, help you get to the next day, help you get to tomorrow? And that's where the value lies. Now, I still think a notebook is one of the best ways to do that. Both Casey and John had great points. The romance of being able to look back at these things.
My brain is preoccupied making up ideas for videos, films, ideas for work projects, etc. If I lived alone, I would probably need a maid to come tidy from time to time. That's basically what I do. The beauty of living in Dubai is that it is very much, it's like a service industry, basically. Like you order things, it comes in like 5 minutes, 15 minutes. But usually I do a good job for the most part keeping my place clean, but it does get cluttered pretty quickly. So usually I'll try to hire a maid to come clean maybe like every 2 to 3 weeks or something, especially because my two cats, they, track their litter everywhere over time, or just like little things like that do add up. And at some point I realized instead of me spending the time cleaning, which is a good thing to do, it's just a good thing to do as a person, I guess, building character and all that. But from a time efficiency standpoint, I realized that it becomes detrimental. So I don't think I ever had a journal. I think my sister had one. Yeah, I do. I used to, not so much these days, but I used to track all of my dreams. And my God, I have some crazy entries in my dream journal. Stuff that, at some point it'd be fun to turn it into like some kind of animated something or other, or some story, because there's some wacky ones in there.
And potentially get
also, the other thing is, as I'm looking through this, so I was correct to be nervous about these shots, where the colors, for whatever reason, it felt weird when I was filming it. It was even worse for photo editing, but the best I can get is at the very least kind of correcting the colors a bit, so it's a bit more neutral. But I don't think I'm going to reach that level of like artsiness or like the super cinematic vibes. Maybe if I knew more about color grading and stuff like that, perhaps. But for these shots, the best I can hope for is just to get the colors a bit more, remove a bit of the flatness to it, and that's about it. Whereas like these shots, they like stick out at you right away. You know what I mean? Like they just immediately look clean. There's a level of, and you know what? Maybe it's because I was also shooting with the 400 for these shots, but I think it was also just the lighting at the time when I was shooting this. I think it was just like very, very ugly light coming through. It's like hard to work it into something. For now, I just don't have the skills to get past this point. So we'll accept these results.
Get inspired. The precision recording that lets you look back and see where you could improve practices. That's useful to some people. A pen and some paper. Two largely overlooked tools, but two of the most
my buddy has a
useful
dream
that
journal.
Everybody
it's good.
should be implementing. This isn't a lens that costs $3,000. And you can find pens literally anywhere. You could write on some post-it notes. You could steal a pen from a friend. This costs nothing, but what you can gain from it, everything.
Yeah, listen, the route that Peter McKinnon is going right now, in some ways mirrors what I've been slowly, obviously at a micro scale compared to him, but it's like, it's kind of in the same direction I've been starting to explore myself, right? So the whole behind the lens concept, right? The behind the lens videos that I've been working on, it is kind of like it's starting to move away from just showing, let's say, my best cinematic captures or my best videos or photos of my travels. I mean, I'm going to continue doing that, obviously, but I'm creating a new lane where it's me just talking to the camera about various things, like, you know, more philosophical topics or just how I live through life the way I do. And I feel like that's what Peter is doing now, right? Which is like, whereas in the past, I feel like his videos were always mostly around like actual photography, or like, you know, like travel related things, or like the gear or whatever, right? It's very, very specific on some camera or video concept. And now he's going into that more philosophical, you know, what is the meaning of life journey. So I think it resonates with me because that's literally what I'm starting to do myself. So seeing him do these videos is also giving me notes of, you know, what topics should I also cover, or what direction should I take with my videos. But yeah, journal can be many things. The Dubai Diaries, the double Ds.
People that looks at modern movies and thinks,
all right, let's watch this. What cinema lost when film went digital?
if you're one of those people that looks at modern movies and thinks, this just doesn't feel like cinema, it doesn't look like it used to, what happened? Well, rest assured, you're not alone. A lot of people are thinking and feeling the same thing. And most, if not everyone, attributes it to film versus digital. And this is only half of the story, because there's a lot that has changed in that transitionary period. When film went to digital, so many other parts of filmmaking changed along with it. And today we're going to talk about what film lost when it went digital. Ultimately, I think I'm going to end up blaming Ronald Reagan and millennials in general, but don't worry, we'll get there. First, let's talk about the eras of filmmaking, because these are the predominant buckets or categories I think most films, movies fall into.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
You've got the film era, where things were shot on film. This is from the dawn of cinema itself, starting in the early 1890s all the way to 1999. At that turn of the millennium is when things entered a transitionary period, where film went digital and we were having movies shot on film, but also new movies being produced digitally as well. This era lasted from 2000 to 2012, and from then on, we've kind of been in a predominantly digital era. Of course, filmmakers can still choose to shoot on film in the old school traditional way, but almost every modern blockbuster or production is doing some kind of digital shooting and digital post-production. Everything has pretty much gone digital, and there's a lot of good reasons why. But even before cinema, you have to think pre-film, where everything came from before, which is the theater. That's where a lot of the tools, technology, equipment, and tech.
Green screen and LCD background overkill happened. Gotcha. Gone with the Wind. What about Gone with the Wind? Is that like, I know that's like a super old movie, right? Was it like Notorious or something?
Techniques came from when it came to lighting and set design, costumes and makeup. A lot of those elements of theater made their way into those early days of film, and they've been evolving ever since. But let's start with the biggest change, because of course everyone knows that cameras themselves changed. When you think of a film camera, you probably think of something big, heavy, and mostly mechanical. And these film cameras were nothing like the modern digital cameras we have today. On a film camera, you can see through a viewfinder and you can see the frame of what you're shooting, but you can't actually see how how the film is capturing it. So there's a lot of room for error, a lot of easy mistakes to make. You need a vast array of additional tools to make sure that your film is exposed properly. And there's this element of just trusting the process, leaving it up to the professionals, and everyone else just kind of looks at it as this black mystery box that just kind of works, but how it works and what it does.
That line you knew. Oh, the what was it? Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Gotcha. Oh, well, there we go. I didn't know. The more you know.
This is ultimately not really in their control. There's a lot of science to it, but it's also an art form as well. Now, when you shift to digital cameras, it's a whole new world of opportunity. The technology is just amazing. The cameras have gotten smaller, lighter, and they're far more electronic than mechanical. And this allows for a lot of really cool technology. Real-time pixel peeping. Digital cameras operate off of a WYSIWYG model where what you see is what you get, and you can analyze in real time. You can have a group of people all looking at the same feed, seeing the shot and knowing, perfect, that's exactly what we want. There's a lot less room for error, and there's way less leaving it up to chance. Along with the cameras, the lenses also changed. Old school film lenses were optically imperfect. They were good and had character, but there were still flaws that provided certain aesthetics, and you had to shoot in a way to embrace those characteristics. Using a higher aperture was often a way to increase the optical sharpness, as well as allow the focus puller to actually get the shot in focus. Because again, no one is seeing a feed from the film camera knowing what's in focus. They don't have a monitor, they don't have a display that they can look at and check their critical focus. They're taking measurements with tape measure and knowing, okay, I've got to pull my focus from this distance to that distance and hope that the shot is in focus. In order to do that effectively, you need to shoot with a higher f-stop, and this creates a deeper depth of field, meaning more is in focus. As camera
lots of great movie clips here. Lovely deep focus. Yeah, I'm kind of half paying attention to what they're showing here. Oh, what's this actor's name? Something Fraser? Brendan Fraser? Brandon Fraser? The Mummy. Brendan Fraser. I did see something that recently that he posted that he's starting to go to the gym to get ready for another Mummy movie, which I'm here for that. I loved those series back in the day. Brendan Fraser.
Cameras have evolved, so have lenses, and now the new modern digital lenses are incredible. They are so sharp, they are so pristine.
Oh,
all of those.
That guy's S sound. It's like my S, which I still don't know if I fixed.
Those older flaws and imperfections have been resolved. We have some of the best glass imaginable, and it is really easy to do focus now, either manually and checking for confirmation on the monitor, knowing exactly that you have your critical focus, or relying on autofocusing tools as well. This means modern lenses can be shot wide open at the lowest aperture values, having that super shallow depth of field, the blurry backgrounds, and still having razor sharp details in focus. Along with these changes, we've also got the grain changing as well. This is what a lot of people associate with film, the film grain, the texture, and that's what was there on these film cameras. When you're shooting on film stock, you're going to have grain. It's that random, natural texture across every inch of the frame. And what's important to remember is that the larger the film stock, the smaller that grain structure is going to be. And what's counterintuitive to a lot of people is that that grain can actually add a perceived sharpness. So you'll notice that with those imperfect lenses and just the way film is shot, things tend to be a little bit softer. There's not as much resolution, there's not as much detail, but the grain adds a certain level of sharpness and detail, even though the image may be on the softer side. When you switch to digital, we stop talking about grain and we start talking about noise.
Yo, the S is killing me at times. And I'm saying this with no judgment because I still don't even know how to fix it on my end. But man, it like cuts, it's like piercing my soul. Fed says it would behoove this guy to drop the S-related frequencies on his audio for sure. Yeah, I think so.
Digital noise, the noise that comes from the electronic sensor. Same as film.
But it's forgivable because I'm learning a lot here.
film, the larger digital sensors mean smaller and smaller noise patterns. And over the years, sensor manufacturers have gotten really good, really smart, really sophisticated at cleaning up all of that noise. We have things now like dual gain circuitry or triple gain circuitry, where these cameras can practically shoot in the dark and still get crystal clear images. At the same time, the resolutions keep increasing, meaning we're getting sharper and sharper details in every pixel of that image. But let's not forget, the lighting has changed as well. Film got a lot of its lighting technology from the theater. And so back in the film days, lights were big, they were hot, they were bright, and they were sharp. A lot of stage lighting is built on hard lighting, so you'll get striking shadows and contrast. And to avoid excessive film grain, you want to light up the scene. A lot of light is needed for those higher aperture values to keep things in focus, but also to expose the film properly. When you shift to modern lighting, lights have gotten a lot softer and they've gotten a lot dimmer because you don't need the power anymore that you used to. The camera sensors are sensitive enough, they can almost see in the dark, so a dimmer light and a softer light is completely fine. And this is more atmospheric than theatrical. We're building a mood with modern lighting. A lot of the lighting is meant to be very intentional, very motivated, very practical to the scene. Where modern filmmakers might not want to light up the whole frame, maybe they only want to light up parts of it because that's what feels most real and authentic and motivated for the scene. Compare that to the sets as well, because they have changed. In the film era, again, borrowing a lot from the theater, from the stage, sets were big and bold and practical, and there was a lot of emphasis on color and separation between the foreground and background, making sure that actors would stand out just like you would want on stage. But as things have changed over the years, modern sets have embraced a more narrow color palette. You'll see a lot of modern productions have a very simple and minimal color palette, which some find to be very cinematic, but also some might think it's a little bit one-dimensional. And a lot of these modern productions...
Random thought here as I'm editing some of these footage. I remember this shot in particular. As I started recording, I noticed that there's a lot of fog, or there's like a lot of lens fog, just because I think, was it raining? It had just finished raining probably, plus it was just a bit humid where we were. So in the initial few seconds, there was a bit of that fogginess to the front, but I kind of like what it looks like. And I guess maybe this is where applying one of those mist filters, maybe that's what it does, is kind of mimic this foggy diffusion. But yeah, just for a brief, like few hot seconds, the way that it ended up kind of creating this little bit of light diffusion and whatever else, I kind of like it. I'm like, oh shoot, okay. So I got to keep this in mind for the next time. Maybe I need to put one of those misty filters on. Because then here you can see eventually the fog disappeared. And obviously there's nothing wrong with it because now you're getting clean shots. There's a bit more sharpness to the chimp, a bit more separation. And it is very clean. And I wonder, maybe digitally through DaVinci, I might be able to mimic that same kind of diffusion from the first few seconds. But yeah, there's a softness to it that I kind of liked. And this one looks okay too, just off the bat. Obviously I'll need to adjust it a bit more. And then here, obviously I need to change the ND filter, so I'll have to make some changes in a second. But yeah, so we'll have to increase it. But just those first few seconds here, I liked it because there was a bit of fogginess all in this right area. And food for thought. I don't know if maybe that does mean I need to just really invest in one of those mist ND filters, mist filters. There's a new effect to add that now. Add the haze effect. Emulates adding a spray of haze to a room. No shot. Man, how much have I been missing out on just from 2 months? Or is this like, okay, where is this effect? Let me turn this on.
Productions rely heavily on how things will be handled in post-production, which brings us to color grading, which is what a lot of people associate with getting cinematic images. It's all about the color grade. Well, in the film days, the look was kind of baked in. The film was the grade itself. You chose your look by picking the type of film you were shooting on. And yes, you'd have some control over things like exposure. You could make it brighter or darker depending on your darkroom process. You could make it warmer or cooler, but you're doing these push and pulls globally to the whole film. In the film days, it was all about these global adjustments, but what you shot is what you got for the most part. And in general, there was an emphasis on brighter skin tones, making sure that actors, again, would stand out. Over time, though, that changed and shifted to more darker and darker.
Okay, I see the option that says cinematic haze. So I'm assuming that's the one. All right, let's go check this one out. Let me go full screen. We'll just apply it as is here to this shot. Maybe... yeah, okay. Let's just create a new node. And let's drag in cinematic haze. Okay, so far I don't see anything. Oh, wait. Ah. Hello, hello. Now it is softer. Maybe if I apply the sharpening at the same time, it could counteract a bit of the softness. Yeah, yeah. The eyes are a little bit sharper once I turn it on. Okay. Hold on a minute. This doesn't look half bad. What do you think, Nala? Okay, let me get back to that though. Fed says, yep, that's it. You will want to add it pretty late in the node tree so you don't color grade the effect, so to speak. Oh, fair point. Yeah, okay, hold on. Yeah, let's get rid of this. Where should we put it? We'll put it next to the dehancer one. My God, all these new tools. All right, there's so many different options here. I have no idea. I guess, I mean, that's the fun of it, I guess, just to play with it. All right, so it's taking it in levels, I see. So I'm increasing the depth, starting from all the way in the background. And then how much of it does it cover my main subject here? I kind of don't mind it on the full. What was it before? Yeah, we'll just keep it on the full. Gamma. I just don't know enough of what these things mean to go crazy with it. Wait, but this is exactly what I wanted. I don't need that linear gradient. I can just play with this. Resolution loss. Maybe a little bit less of the loss. Light halos. Huh. This is the halo threshold. I don't really know what to do with this. Man, there's so many options here. This is pretty exciting. Light rays. Enable light rays? What the heck? It just looks like it's top, or it's just up and down. Okay, add an angle from a location. No shot. Yo, this is like Luminar. It's like Luminar, but for video. So I can put a directional light. Interesting. Okay, okay. I don't think I want that just yet, though. Wow. So now I'm creating a bit of directional light coming in from the top left. Air disturbance? Yo, there's so many options here. What the heck? Something called air disturbance? As if I know what that means. Global blend. Okay. Alright, so let me just see the before and after. I like this. Obviously, I would do more to play with this, but my god, this is quite interesting. You can play with the depth as it uses the depth map. Often default is almost perfect, but for different shots you can get really nitpicky. When it's handheld, it's a good idea to play the video once in a while to see how it works with the movement. Yeah. Well, here I might have to chop up this video because I did change the ND filter midway through. So I probably would just have to cut it here, or I have to be more precise with my keyframes and adjust the lighting. Now, how slow is the rendering? Let's see. Yeah, so we run into the same problem where the rendering speed is like, takes a century. So we're gonna factor that in. Okay, I'm quite excited to keep playing with this now. So thank you, Fed. Got some new tools in the arsenal to play with. I probably need to change the white balance now, so we'll go creative with it. I'm not sure. Let's see. Too much, too much. Bring it back, bring it back. Let's go the other side just to see. Oh man, but it is like, it is a slow. Yeah, it's killing my machine is what I'm saying. And then we'll turn. So combining the haze, cinematic haze with the over sharpen is a nice combo, at least for this particular shot, because without the over sharpen, the chimp's eyes were pretty soft and blurry, but I can bring just enough sharpness back into the eyes with the default over sharpen. And then there you go. You get a mix of that nice haziness coming in from the top left, from the background, slightly creeping into the subject. Interesting, interesting. It is definitely a creative choice. Because like, I guess some people would argue that it's better to have everything sharp here. But to me, it's like, not only is it... The problem was like in the original, I would need to do a lot more lifting of the shadows here. There's a lot more distraction in terms of the leaves in the background and surrounding the chimp. Whereas once we add that haze, it like softens everything nicely without it seeming too unnatural. And so yeah, it's less of a distraction. I like this. And then I just, obviously we'll play with it a bit more, figure out what works best, but I think this is looking good. Now, the question is, could I have used it on one of these shots? Maybe I could rescue Could we have rescued this shot? Let's see. Cinematic haze. Oof, not so much on this one. At least in the default state, this doesn't look too good. Okay, so it doesn't work on every shot, but at least this one was not bad. Fez says it works best of all. It works best of all on static shots, but if it's just a handheld shot that is more or less static, it can work. Yeah, I get what you're saying. The moment we add motion to it, it breaks the illusion. These neural effects are very heavy now. Might get better over time. Hopefully, works best with NVIDIA 50 series GPUs, but even then, they are heavy. Yeah. All right, all right. Here, what if I copy, where was it, this one? Let's copy that node over to a few others and see what happens. Well, that was definitely an interesting effect. It's giving it a bit of a cinematic vibes. No pun intended, or like, yeah. So this is the original one. Nothing wrong with the original, in my opinion. Like, you know, it does the job. You see the two guests, they're shooting. The colors look clean, or at least very sharp. And then when we apply the cinematic haze, yeah, obviously now a lot of the colors have been muted, but it kind of looks, yeah, it feels more like a Hollywood movie. Or it feels more like an effect you would expect to see for something in cinema. So they aren't kidding with the labeling of cinematic haze. Now, why is that? Like, I guess I should learn more about why that visually does that. I think the biggest thing I can point to is when we apply the cinematic haze, it is softening the background quite a bit. So it's similar to when I apply my photo edits, where I want to soften the background and slightly sharpen the subjects. So it seems like this effect is kind of doing that, where it's taking a lot of this background, where previously it's a little bit more contrasty, or there's a bit more clarity to it, such that it looks distracting. You know, your eyes can get drawn to all of the little contrasted details here. Whereas now this one flattens it out, but removes a bit of that texture to it and the clarity. So then it just draws your eyes more easily to the subject, I guess. So I think that's the effect that's making me feel like this is more cinematic. And of course, getting a little bit of that haziness feels like some level of like diffused angelic light coming through. So this is a kind of an interesting effect. Like, maybe I want to try to apply a bit more color back into this, because again, like, what I don't necessarily like is that the greens have gotten a bit muted and it looks a bit more stale. So maybe I'll play with trying to add some color back into the background. But this doesn't look half bad. And then for this shot, I'm not sure. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's much more noticeable here for sure. So the cinematic haze is definitely doing some kind of softening of the background. And that on its own is definitely a feature I wish. You know what? This literally lines up with some of the conversation we were just having at the beginning of the stream, where I was mentioning when it comes to editing photos, I love using masks. I love like separating out the subject and all that. But then when it comes to video, it just feels like extra level of effort to try to do these like find the subject, render it across the clip, and then I can apply some things on top. Whereas it looks like as tech gets better, as the software gets better, perhaps we're getting to a point where it is like a single effect that you can activate, and it just automatically, ideally, it would like automatically detect the subject or the background and apply the softening effect off the bat. This is good. So okay, let me see if I can add a bit of color back to this. Otherwise, I think I'm okay with this. How can we do that? Maybe with the greens. Okay, it's a little bit better. With the yellows, maybe. Slightly better. Yeah, it's not bad. Fest says, yeah, these oh sorry. I have a feeling they are working on optimizing these effects since they are only in beta now. The face aging effect already works better in dark light now on beta 3 than it did beta 2. There's a reason filmmakers add haze so much, even when shooting, like a person sitting on a bed in a bedroom. Haze will be added, adding texture to the air. It just looks less sharp and sterile. Yeah. Well, damn, this is great. Great news. I'm going to be having so much fun trying to figure this out. Well, thank you very much, Fed. And this is why I love doing these live streams. You never know what you learn. But like I said, I started by saying I love this kind of hazy effect here. I didn't use the word haze, but I like this kind of fogginess that came in from the lens fog, the diffusion. And now it seems like apparently DaVinci has an effect for that. Hot damn. Because this just feels, it just feels more moody for sure. Perfect. All right, all right. Well, I didn't mean to hop over here anyways. I just remembered. I was just doing this to show to, I forget who it was earlier, who was asking Nero about the color grading that happens in DaVinci, or my node structure. I was supposed to be, I'm trying to go chronologically. So what day was I on before I hopped over here? Okay, I was on day 2-ish of the trip, or basically the end of this Shoebill Swamp. So I do want to go back to editing from here. And I think I finished. Oh wait, now I gotta go back. Now it's like I want to go back to all of this and see how that haze effect can improve my shots or not. Jeez, we got a lot of fun stuff now. Let's see. If I take this shot, as well as the sharpening tool, but looks like I need to update my power grade. All right, so here it's a little much, or it's covering up too much of the face, but I'm sure I could always adjust it a bit. Let's see. Near limits. The problem though is I could see a little bit of breakage when I was changing that. So if I don't cover the whole thing, you can start seeing the outline. So yeah, it's not perfect just yet. There are some issues like that. What if I change the far limit? Okay, let's see. Just with a little bit of playing around with it, I want to see if it gets better or worse. Let me also apply the sharpening tool. Not over sharpen. What is it called? Sharpen, ultra sharpen. Okay, so then if we compare before and after, let's see. Now you can add it in post using this effect. Our eyes can kind of pick up on humidity in the air that cameras don't capture, so adding a spray of actual haze before shooting is something the camera can pick up. Yeah, you know, I actually played around with that for my Pidgeotech backpack video, and that was super fun. I think I mentioned on stream that I have the little haze machine, and it set off the fire alarm, or one of the alarms in the building apparently, because someone knocked on my door later and was like, "Hey, is there a fire here?" Like from the staff. So I'm being a little bit mindful of that. And then I was planning to use it on my Chimp Island video, the film project, but because I was outside and it was super windy, every time we would turn on the haze, because I was going to use it for the tunnel shot, when you see the chimpanzees walking through the tunnel at sunset and the light is, you know, cutting across the cage shadows. I thought the haze would be such a cool effect. However, because it just got so windy as we were trying to do it, the smoke would just dissipate so quickly. So it was unfortunate timing, because it would have been so cool to get that shot in the haze. Now I'm curious, if I go back to that footage and I apply the cinematic haze, I wonder if it would turn out nicely or not. So here's the before. In my before shot, the sky is a bit bright, but the subject is okay here as they go away. Whereas now if I turn on that cinematic haze, it's darkened the sky, which is not a bad thing. There's a bit more diffusion on the grass in the background here. I did add a little bit of a bluish tint to it for what it's worth. And let's see how it plays across. I won't be able to play because it'll probably be too shaky. Okay, an issue I see here is definitely you're seeing a little bit of weirdness, yeah, right around as he's given that peace sign. Unfortunately, it's shrouded in this weird pixelation. I wonder if I have to increase the limit. So unfortunately, it is wrapping around his hand. I'm not sure how to... okay. I guess this helps. So if I change the far limit, which then extends it further. However, by doing that, let's see. It's definitely casting over his face as well, but maybe that's part of the what you gotta accept. Okay, I'm not sure yet. I'm kind of torn. I'm not sure. Some things I like about it, at least for this particular shot, but then other things I don't. It seems to add a little bit of weirdness to it. There's looks like some glitchy pixels, or yeah, it's not as clean. It does a good job with the sky behind, but it's also darkening everything in addition to it, which I guess I could always adjust. So the point is, it's probably like a selective tool. So I'll just have to find the right moments to select it as a tool. But I just want to see, if I can get a nice example of it. Maybe this one, we'll try again. Cinematic. Oof. Yeah, okay, so it seems like at times it is causing a little bit of like clear issues. Fair enough, fair enough. It did look good on some of my shots though, so we're making progress. Okay, okay. Things to work out for the future. Ugh. Oh, man. I think I'm winding down. Let me see, where's my cat? Look at Nala. She's giving me the little side eye right now. Good girl. We got pretty girl Nala. Just hanging out. And then I don't think Kimbap. Where is Kimbap? Kimbap, where are you? Yeah. Might just look funky in still shots. Play it and see if it's actually an issue in playback. I think it is. Listen, we'll test that out later. I think I need to update my power grade now and see how it applies. Depth effects usually have a softened slider for that issue. Okay. Well, we got a lot more room to figure this out then, which is good. That's exciting. We got all these new tools to play with. Oh, you know what I'll show you? Just before we head out, before we're done. Let's go to Mongolia. So I mentioned I was working on this video throughout today. So the good news is I was able to work out the voiceover. It's going to be really weird to hear it, I'm sure, but I think this is what we got.
I came to Mongolia for the eagles.
And I'll have to, I haven't edited any of this yet, so if it sounds weird, don't worry, I'll do my best to improve it later. So here's the opening line that I've got lined up for our kind of like quick scene. What did I have? I came to Mongolia for the eagles, for the hunt, for the wild, but what I discovered beyond that were the people, the ones who carved a life from this land and called it home. These are their pillars. These are their songs. This is the heart of Mongolia. So, we'll go down a little bit of memory lane. Why don't we? Fed says, have you seen Widow's Bay on Apple TV? Since you like From, you will probably enjoy it. Ooh, okay. I got to add it to the list. Widow's Bay. Widow's Bay. Okay. Maybe I'll watch a trailer as we end the stream. Widow's Bay. Man, I got so many things to watch. Quick little recap though. Let me find it here for a second. 2025 final. Here we go. Here it is.
There are moments.
Okay, so just for a quick reference, this was the first episode I made of my trip in Mongolia a few years back at this point, a couple years back. So we made this whole video, this travel vlog, during the live streams. So quick little recap. This is the opening moments. How do I rewind?
You never forget.
Whoops.
There are moments you never forget when you witness something primal, ancient, unstoppable. Through blinding snow, I watched them emerge, eagle hunters with the spirit of warriors past. This is my journey to the heart of Mongolia.
Okay, so that was the last phrase before the trailer kicks off, where it says, this is my journey to the heart of Mongolia. So I figure for this episode 2, which is technically part 2, it's the finale, and it's not necessarily meant to be a continuation of part 1, this episode here, because I went with a different creative direction on this part 2. It's just like a standalone piece by itself, where you'll hear different songs throughout played by the locals, and each one is representing a pillar of the Altai people, the people that I spent time with. But at the end of this, I said, this is my journey to the heart of Mongolia. So I thought for my second video, the video I'm working on now, the final line before the trailer kicks off, I could say, this is the heart of Mongolia. So first episode, I talked about trying to find it. This is my journey to the heart. And then this one is saying, I found it. This is the heart. Anyways, that's my little connection point. So let's play this out, and I'll show you. Again, I'll work on the audio levels and sound mixing and stuff. And there's some blank spots here because I need to figure out, and these are still outdated text to remove. Can I remove it now, actually? Let's see. Okay, I won't remove it now, but just ignore it.
Mongolia for the eagles, for the hunt, for the wild. But what I discovered beyond that were the people, the ones who carved a life from this land and called it home. These are their pillars. These are their songs. This is the heart of Mongolia.
So I'll probably have to increase the volume there. Okay, so nothing's changed there. Okay, so I'm not going to play everything, but the point is this stays the same then. I think I'm not going to add any voiceover here. I think I'm just going to let it play as is. And then as this song ends, we kick off into the first intermission. So then for each of the intermissions, I finally have the words. I recorded it. I'm inserting it in here. So this is just for reference for how it is, but let's let it play.
That was one of the highlights of my trip, spending the afternoon huddled in a tiny room, escaping the intense cold. The hunter started passing around the vodka, and quickly the room filled with laughter, songs, and delicious food. I used to think a nomadic life would be a lonely one. You've got no fixed neighbors, no address. It's just you, your herd, and the wild. But that's not what I found out while I was out here. Turns out the further out you live, the closer you have to be to each other. The bond of kinship out here was one of the strongest I'd ever seen. The fire stays small, but the circle keeps getting wider.
Okay, so anyways, that's kind of the point is during each of these intermissions, while something hopefully exciting is playing, you'll hear the quick little voiceover from me that's recapping the prior chapter or the prior verse. And then ideally, I end each one with the literal line that you saw in the beginning. So here when it says the fire is small, the circle is wide, just kind of playing back to that quote inside the intermission. And then kicks off the next episode, and then boom, 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 get all the B-rolls. I just need 2 more chapters to wrap up. And then same thing, we've got the intermission, you hear my voice again as I give the next line. So I feel really happy with the progress. Today's Friday. The goal would be that I release this video next week, all right? Because I have so much other places I want to share with you guys that we can work on the photos and the videos. Man, I keep alluding to it, but I never get to show you guys because I got so stuck with the film project and then with this Mongolia video. So once we get through that, then we can start working on the next few awesome videos from my trips. So Fed says, have you seen Widow's Bay? It's running now. Oh, wait, yeah, so it's more humor, but it's a horror mystery series. Gotcha. It's running now. It's on episode 5. You know what movie I want to see? It just came out on Apple TV. Is it called Exit 8? Something like that. Exit 8. And then let me look up the thing you just said. It's called Widow's Bay. Ooh, it made the cut. Oh, I mean, Fed, to be fair, I think, you know what? Because I guess, I don't know. Have we talked about films that we share in common, like in terms of what we like? I'm not sure. But I do trust your opinion pretty highly. But for me, the thing that I trust the most, the thing that I always use as gospel is if on a TV show, I don't usually care about Rotten Tomatoes ratings for it, But if a TV show gives a rating, if IMDb gives a rating of 8 out of 10 or higher, I usually then, unless it's like only from 5 reviews, but usually this is my litmus test that this is worth watching. I've never watched a TV show where IMDb rates it 8 or higher and it's shitty. Just has never happened, you know? So yeah, that becomes my little line in the sand. So the fact that it's got 8.3, all right, I gotta watch this. And it's got this actor. Who's this guy? Oh wait, no, do I recognize him? He looks like the guy who plays Star Wars, but now he looks different. Hold on, let's zoom in. Do I know any of these guys? I don't think so. Kingston Rumi Southwick, what a name. That's a name meant for acting. Stephen Root, Dale Dickey, I don't know any of these guys. Comedy horror? Yo, I love comedy horror as a genre, I think. Okay, I can play, it's probably gonna, maybe I'll just cut it out from the stream if it gets me in trouble. Widow's Bay. Official trailer, let's watch this.
I'm Tom Loftus.
Oh,
or Tom.
Nice to meet you, Arthur.
You want to grab some coffee?
No, I'm good. Jerry was just taking me through some of your history.
Oh, that's great. Yes, well, remarkable story.
I was talking to the guy on the ferry, and he said something odd.
What was that?
We said bad things happen here.
There is something about these seafaring towns. The superstitions, their tall tales.
Why does even this guy, something about his, not to knock someone for their appearance, but something about his face makes me feel like he's wearing a mask. It just feels very droopy and heavy. And definitely the face that showed up right before, or was it? This guy, I mean, clearly this guy is messed up, but he looks like the actor who played, God, what I don't know the guy's name. Star Trek? No. X-Men Days of Future Past? Who's the guy who plays... James McAvoy. Okay, so hear me out. That actor we just looked at, I think looks like James McAvoy if James McAvoy was wearing a mask of James McAvoy. Okay? That's... Let me get to a good front shot of him. Okay. This is James McAvoy wearing a Halloween mask of James McAvoy. Right there. That's what I see.
I find it charming myself. What town doesn't have a checkered past?
Was there cannibalism?
No. I don't think that's right.
Okay, this is piquing my interest for sure. Interesting. All right, I'll have to check it out. I mean, it's got great reviews. I usually don't like watching things that are too much on the horror side, just for horror's sake, like jump scares or like creepy stuff. I usually don't mind if it's there for a reason. Like the TV show From, that's like a perfect example where it's got a good mix of like kind of scary horror related things, but it's not there just to do a jump scare. It feels like, I don't know, it progresses nicely. So this one got the review, so I feel like I need to watch it. But yeah, the one that was called Exit 8 or something, that one I think I need to... Exit 8, it's the film based on the game. I've never played the game, but the movie got really good reviews. That other guy, that scene is from a hallucination, so he looks extra special in that shot. Gotcha. Okay. All right, well, listen, anyways, I appreciate it. I think I'm done for today. It is now 10:30 p.m. I want to grab a quick snack and then detox and then enjoy the weekend. It's Friday, I forgot. So I most likely will not be streaming tomorrow or the day after, but I'll just be using that time to catch up on more work-related stuff. And then, yeah, I'll be back on Monday. This is more comedy and satire, but some spooky scenes. It's more eerie and creepy. All right, I gotta check it out. I like mixing comedy with horror because it feels so I keep wanting to say diabolical, but that's not the word. What's the word I'm looking for? You know what I'm trying to say. Diametrically opposed. There we go. Comedy and horror feels like they should be diametrically opposed to each other. So if a show, if you're able to fuse those two together in a nice way, that's like so impressive. So, yeah. All right. Well, anyways, thank you very much. Sounds like you will like it. I think I will like it. I appreciate the advice. I've written it down. It's a little bit more embedded in my mind now. It's on Apple TV, so I should be able to just stream it. So Widow's Bay. But yeah, thank you very much. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. Oh, and the next time I see you guys, it'll be the 150th stream. So that'll be fun. And then make sure, guys, if you haven't already, check out my latest YouTube video. It's my latest Behind the Lens series, and I share a little bit of the mantra that I take forward when I travel. So hopefully it's of value in some form or fashion. It is very Peter McKinnon-esque. I would like to think he's copying my style, but it is what it is. All right, cheers, guys. Appreciate it, and I'll see you guys on Monday.